Welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. Big shout out to the replay gang. Thank you so much for coming back to watch this, even though you missed the live party, guys. That is the best part, so make sure you are here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that subscribe, ring the bell, and you will never miss an Indian Jesus live party ever again. If you'd like to support the channel, head on over to TheIndianJesus.com for your very own official merch. We got t-shirts. It's getting cold. Get a jacket only at TheIndianJesus.com. Guys, we do also have a Discord server. It is an absolutely free place to join, and it's basically like a group chat where 24/7 we are in there hanging out, having a good time. It is a great place to meet people and have interesting conversations. And like I said, it's absolutely free. So join, and it's free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below the video, hit that join button. There's a few different tiers here, but it starts at just $2.99 a month. Gets you members only live streams here on YouTube and all that other good stuff. But it also opens up the full Discord server. So while it is free to join, we got the free chat that anybody can join. If you are a member of this channel, you get access to the entire thing, including the after party. And so that is a voice channel. We'll go in as soon as we are done here, and we can talk about whatever we want. We don't have to worry about any YouTube censors, and you are not stuck behind your keyboard. You're actually on screen with me and everybody else. It is a good time. Definitely come and join us. Shout out to Nick Lucetti in the building. Welcome. Good to see you. We also got King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. That membership keeping you going. Thank you, sir. So it seems morning coming? No? Oh, there he is. It seems like nobody in politics is doing anything unless it has to do with the Young Turks. So I know we've been covering Jank a lot, but Anna's back from her post-election hideout, and here talking with Glenn Beck, and it was a lot more interesting than I expected to be. I kind of hoped it was going to be a little bit more blood sporty, but it's actually a more elevated conversation, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. So let's dive right in. As always, if you can hear the video, please.
Yeah, how are you?
Oh. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Very good.
Thank you.
So for people who might not know who you are, how would you describe who you were? Because you've had some transition on some things, who you were, how you would self-identify yourself over the last 10 years.
How you would self-identify yourself?
Well, I would say that I was firmly identifying myself as a Democrat. I think that if you look at my policy prescriptions, for the most part, I'm still pretty much left-wing. There are some social issues
Hold on. Definition of left-wing to you. Is that Democrat or left-wing? What does that mean?
Well,
good question. Because I always, whenever I'm talking more about the politicians, I'll talk about Democrats. When I'm talking about the voters, I'll talk about more liberals or left-wing or lefty or stuff like that. Good question.
Left-wing in regard to, I would say like one of my grounding political values is that workers should have better pay, better working conditions, a seat at the table. Unionized labor, I think, is incredibly important, which, it's something that's been decimated in recent decades in this country. But that's like my number one interest in politics. And that's not really something that has really been favored by the Republican Party, traditionally speaking. And historically, unionized labor was something that the Democratic Party looked out for. And I don't really see that as the case anymore when it comes to the mainstream Democrats. They're certainly more corporate now. They're certainly captured by their corporate donors. I think that the way that this last election went down really does show you the kind of political strategist rot that exists, the corruption that exists. And there's real tension now between the voters who want very specific policy prescriptions in order to deal with the rising inequalities that we have in this country when it comes to wealth and income. And then you have the Democratic Party, which is heavily funded by corporate interests and moneyed interests. And what those donors want severely conflicts with what the base of Democratic voters want.
And that sounds a lot like the divergence. So she's talking about the kind of the split in the Democratic Party, the two types of Democrats, ones that are more the corporate and then one that are more for the people. And we see the same kind of rift On the right, it's a little bit more pronounced with Trump being, the figurehead of a new movement. But there is still, the GOP Rhino Mitch McConnell type people that are still out there and do not like Trump and the way things are going. So it's very interesting to see that there is like where everybody lines up. It's very likely that if you're center right or center left, you probably align more with the person on the opposite side in the center than you do with the person on the same side that's on the extreme wing. Shout out to Zippy, the SM Lee. Welcome to the parties. And I used to give a damn, but the leftists stole all of my feelings. They do tend to do that. But stay strong, brother. Stay strong. And welcome to the party. I noticed that too. King says it seems like a strange way to have their mic set up, but I dig it. Yeah, the entire setup, like it's also very dark. Like it just, I mean, look at the comparison. It's dark in there. I thought my TV was screwed up when I was watching it before. But I dig it. I like who else does that? Actually I think it's is it Ben Shapiro? I don't know. Someone. But yeah, it's cool, right? All right, diving back in.
And so this has been a growing issue with the Democratic Party. And what I see as, their campaign call is more and more culture war stuff. And it gets more and more extreme every election cycle.
And then they will turn around and be like, all you guys ever care about is this stupid stuff that nobody ever talks about. You started it. We wouldn't be talking about this if you weren't shoving this down everybody's throats.
And I think that they're pushing more and more people away by sticking to the corporate politics while also getting more and more maximalist when it comes to some of the culture war type issues.
So as I look, because it is so hard, what you do, what I do, there's so many words that come out of us every single day, and then out of context or not worded, exactly right.
Point.
The way I look at the Democratic Party or the left is that there is the machine that is in bed now with big business. And that's just the crony capitalism, just the vomitous kind of corruption that we all hate in either party, any party.
Right.
Then there's the average Democrat who might disagree on taxes or whatever, but they believe in the Constitution and they believe in the Bill of Rights and everything else. And I think that has been that is the majority of people.
Absolutely.
And then there's this crazy left-wing Marxist, destroy it all kind of group. And that, I don't even know, maybe 8%, 10% is that. And it's the middle people.
What is going on with both of my
who have been.
Okay, well, this one's playing out. Anyway, well, I would be very curious as to like what percentage of the left actually identifies with these crazy ideas. I mean, it's very clear that it's way lower than we would have expected, before the election. So we know that there's a lot of people who aren't for that stuff and are actually against it, but were too afraid to speak out because they thought everybody else liked it and they were the weird one. So it would be really, really interesting to get that number.
But no, maybe 8%, 10% is that.
Yeah, right.
And it's the middle people who have been either lied to so effectively by so many people, mainly mainstream media. But we're at the beginning in the Democratic Party, possibly, of those people waking up and going, I don't like either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, I take.
So basically what I just said. And that's the coalition that we need is the normal people. It's the normal people who may have different ideas about should it be the Republican Party or should it be the Democratic Party? Should it be the Democratic solution to this particular issue or the Republican solution to this particular issue? It's those people that are willing to actually solve the issue while maintaining what we have as a country. Both people, the Nick Fuenteses of the world and the Hassans of the world don't want the world that we had in 2019. They don't want it. Or at least they say they don't want it. I know we all know Hassan's best year was probably 2019. But other than that, the ideas that they espouse, nobody is really globbing onto those except the people that specifically watch those streams. But somehow those messages get a lot stronger. I would say more so on the left than the right, but either way, not good. Not good.
Those people waking up and going, I don't like either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, look, I take a little bit of issue with the use of Marxist in this context, because honestly, I think that there's maybe a total of like 5 actual Marxists in this country.
Maybe that's the case, but you, Anna, since before you had your red pilling, you were carrying water for them. Maybe not directly, and maybe you were calling them out to some extent, but the things that Glenn is talking about, that he's referring to as Marxist, you are in favor of them.
Context, because honestly, I think that there's maybe a total of like 5 actual Marxists in this country. In reality, we're talking about individuals whose politics is mostly based on, you know, some fringe issue or some cultural issue that they have. It's not just that they care about that issue, it's that they've taken that issue and they've made it part of their identity.
Yep. Shout out to Bobius Prime. Welcome to the party. Very, very, very good to see you, brother.
The core of who they are.
Mhm.
And it's almost like what you would expect from religious zealots, you know? And so there's a fundamentalism involved
or a dogma.
The way that they treat these issues, and there's no room to negotiate. There's no room to maybe consider the thoughts and concerns of other individuals. And so as they become more and more kind of like authoritarian in what they demand, they are pushing people away. And there are some issues in which the rights of one group might actually end up conflicting with the rights of another group, depending on what type of legislation you're pursuing.
Shout out to Guam Tag. Welcome. So I got the best red pill, conspiracy theories, and Alex Jones right after high school. Oh, shout out to Alex Jones. That's going to our poll, our running poll. Were you red pilled slowly or all at once? And there's 4 options. Slowly, all at once. You could be a lifelong Republican, or you are not red pilled and you're still on the left. Let me know in the comments below. Replay gang, I'm talking to you. Welcome to the party, guys. If you could do me a huge favor and just hit that like button, double tap your screen if you're on your phone, it helps out so very much. Thank you.
And so, of course, this has come up with the trans issue, and I've always been supportive of the transgender community, but when the rights of transgender people, particularly transgender women, start to cause some tension with the rights and freedoms of women or the perceived safety of women, well, let's have a conversation.
No, that's transphobic.
How dare you? Avoid assuming the worst of the people who want to have that conversation, right? Because I think that in a country like America, where you have so many different people with so many different backgrounds, beliefs, people of faith, the only way this works is if we respect each other and actually engage in these conversations in good faith. And
attack ideas, not people.
Felt that the left was able to do that back in the day. And I don't know what happened, but we've moved further and further away from being able to have those conversations in good faith without
Trump happened. That's what happened. Trump happened and everybody's brain exploded.
Assuming malice toward individuals who have a slight difference of opinion.
So, I mean, well, let me just ask you first. Do you believe in the Bill of Rights?
Of course, yes.
All of them?
I love this country.
Yeah,
I love this country. I love the idea of this country.
Right. I'm not questioning. I just want to know, do you believe in the Bill of Rights as written? Okay.
This seems like a gotcha type of setup. All right.
Used to be our unum. We could all come together and disagree and live different lifestyles, as long as I'm not taking away your rights. You're not taking away my rights. I have a right to disagree with you. We can have conversations about anything and walk away and go, see you tomorrow, Bill. You know what I mean? That's what's happened to us. There's been this erosion of education of how important the Bill of Rights is. We're looking now at a population, especially a younger population, that thinks that there's limits on speech.
Right.
There's not limit.
There are some limits, right?
What are they?
The typical example is you can't yell.
Yes, you can.
Fire in a crowded movie theater.
Not true. That was actually written by the Supreme Court to prove against that.
Really?
Yeah, it was not.
But you can't incite violence.
Yes,
you can't engage in defamation.
You can't say things that directly incite violence or panic. And it's very clear when, we're going to go kill them and we're going to kill them now. That's the end of freedom of speech.
Right.
But without freedom of speech, where we can't say, I'm sorry, I respect this
disagree.
person. I love this person. They can live their life. But if I'm taking them to the hospital, I am telling the doctor that
that's a man, baby.
It's a man, not a woman. Now,
if we don't have free speech, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. If we don't have free speech, we don't have anything. Yeah, keyword directly incite panic and violence. Indeed.
can call themselves whatever. I could even be cool, totally cool with it. But we have to be able to have a civil, non-hateful conversation about truth.
And that's where I get a little, where I like to distance myself a little bit from the people who are so strongly against the individuals who are buying into an ideology that I don't necessarily agree with. Specifically the trans thing. Like, I don't have anything against trans people. And too many people who talk about the trans ideology, which I absolutely do have an issue with, muddy the waters by talking about the trans people themselves. And there's discussions to be had about individual trans people and trans activists and this and that. But I would bet that the overwhelming majority of people who identify in this LGBT whatever, or not the whole thing, but the trans, non-binary gender stuff, that they are not like trying to pull a fast one. The AGP adult men are, but for especially the younger ones, they're just doing a thing. The same way we were all into fads when we were kids, that's just the new thing. And so the same way where we talk about DEI and anti-racism and all that stuff is done with good intentions to help Black people, it creates a negative effect in the white kids who haven't done anything. And now they're resentful towards Black people because of what they've been told by other people. Same thing is going to happen with the transes. Same thing is going to happen with anyone on the other side of an issue with you. Point being that we need to find a middle ground. America is not your utopia. You don't have that privilege. You don't get to just be like, I want this. No, this is America. You have to figure it the fuck out with other people who disagree with you. Grow the fuck up, figure it the fuck out.
I mean, I agree with you on that. And, the argument, and I think this is a decent argument that you'll hear from those who are more restrictive or wanting more restrictions on speech is, well, we want better terms of service when it comes to, private companies, but free speech only has to do with the government. And if the government isn't violating your free speech, then why are we complaining about,
That's not a problem if.
Well, they're technically not wrong according to the law. But there's a different discussion about the concept of free speech. They're two different things. Just like the other day, we were talking about marriage. And marriage exists in two different contexts. Once there's a law around marriage, that takes it away from solely being just holy matrimony between a man and a woman as, by a priest. That takes it out of solely being that context. Now, whether you like it or not, two dudes can get married. Being mad you can be mad about it, you can not like it, but none of that is changing anything. And so if you actually want to change things, then you have to have the argumentation to say why that shouldn't be, get other people to agree with you, and then we all vote like, yeah, we don't want that anymore. But that's not what most people think, and that's not how most people feel. Nick said, I'm a Republican. I'm not far-right extremist. I disagree with them more than most Democrats. That's typically the case, right? But, I mean, when it comes to, at least when I talk about it, we've talked about the difference between when I use Republican and when I use conservative versus Democrat and liberal. Again, the Republican and Democrat being more for the politician class or the pundit media class, and liberal and conservative more on the voter side. How does that fit into you calling yourself a Republican? Do you feel like, or maybe a better question, Nick, is do you think what being a Republican has changed in the last, let's say, 20 years? A shout out to Funk Master General coming in hot with our first Swole Stream Super Chat. Thank you. Of course, every donation comes with a treat for the overlord. Funkmaster said, all praises to the overlord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So very, very much, sir. Again, guys, make sure you check out that swole goal. We got a goal for super chats. You want me on the floor? Bulk me up. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir.
Isn't violating your free speech, then why are we complaining about,
That's not a problem if the government's not in bed with all of the business. You know what I mean?
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
Republicans used to be the big business people.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And
I think they still are to a large extent.
I think remember we talked about those.
Okay, fair. They shout out again to so sure, the right definitely still caters to big business and all that stuff. But it was like that was always what the right was. So whereas we're talking about which is the party of the donor class. If we say that the Republicans are, but now they've also found a way to be for the elite and for the working class, then being for the elite is not really an issue. The elite are still Americans too. It's when your party said fuck the elites, we're for the working class, and then said fuck the working class, here's all the money to the elites. That's the problem. And don't get me wrong, there absolutely hypocrisy to no end on both sides, but not equal right there.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think they still are to a large extent.
I think remember we talked about those, the three with Republicans. There's that machinery Republican. They're all in bed still. They're all in bed. That section, I hope, comes to an end, but there'll always be those people.
Yeah, that's your Rhinos, your Mitch McConnells, all of them. Next, I think the Republicans have gotten more open-minded, but they have been my entire life, at least the ones I have known. Fair enough. Fair enough. Zippy said the right. What?
So I agree with you on that. But it was when you're in bed, especially now. I don't know how you define fascism, but fascism, the technical definition of fascism, is a public-private partnership with the government and private industry. Communism doesn't let you have private ownership. Fascism says, no, you can have private industry, but you're going to do it our way. And we'll let you have the company. And if you don't want to do it our way, we'll destroy you, take it away from you or whatever. We've been headed that way for 100+ years, both sides.
Sounds like the mob. But if you remember the Culture War episode, we didn't cover it, but you may have seen it when Tim brought on people who were talking about living in Jersey and New York. When was it Jersey, New York, or New York and I don't know, the East Coast and Chicago? I don't remember exactly where they were from, but they were living under mob rule, and I think one of them was actually in the mob, and they were saying that people were more willing to pay up because the protection was there. The problem with the government is that we have to pay, but they don't have to show up.
Have been doing it. Right now, the public-private partnership where the government says, we can't do this, but you can. That's fascism. That's wildly dangerous. And both sides have a propensity to do that because they both like power and both like control and money.
Yep. Guys, if I could ask you a huge favor and just get me 3 more likes. We got 12 people and only 5 likes. 3 more likes. That's it. Thank you so very much.
Of social media and Google and everything else, we are in a situation to where who's controlling whom? Which one is more afraid of the other, the government or Google?
Thank you.
Who's afraid of who? You know what I mean? Who has more power?
Well, I would say right now it feels as though the corporations have more power.
I agree with you.
Especially considering the fact that, corporate interests fund politicians on both sides of the political aisle.
There's 2.
And so they're completely captured by corporate interests.
Correct.
And I think that has happened to the detriment of the American people, regardless of whether they vote Democrat or Republican. And so what I see as a bigger problem when it comes to this speech question and how it's impacting private companies is that private companies are increasingly catering to niche audiences or one side of the political spectrum over the other. And unfortunately, and I understand this because I think I was also kind of in that bubble of seeking content or information that only validated what I already believed because it's comfortable.
Yep, and we told you that, but no, we were just racist. So Funk says none of the above on the poll. How is that possible? Elaborate, please. Please.
Content or information that only validated what I already believed because it's comfortable. And I totally understand why people do that. I used to do that myself. I didn't do it consciously. It was like a thing that I think I was just doing because it's like, I trust this source because this source is reporting accurately. But it turns out, no, I actually trust that source because that source is telling me what I want to hear.
Correct.
Yep. So he says the right does not cater to the media industry or education, which greatly influences culture. Well, we're starting. But you're absolutely right. That's how the left got so popular and all encompassing. So then, lifelong Republican would fit you? No.
And so this is a huge.
That's kind of the point. Did it happen slowly? Did it happen all at once? Did it never happen because you were always there, or did it never happen at all?
Problem because the divisions in the country and the inability.
Excuse me.
Because the divisions in the country. And
really, you ain't got a mute button, bro.
Because the divisions in the country and the inability.
Excuse me.
Because the division.
I forgot I rewound it. I was like, again, bro.
In the country and the inability to have conversations with people you disagree with, I think is a product of the bubbles that we live in, right? The media bubbles we live in. And I don't know how to fix that. I mean, one way that I've tried is by providing counter narratives and a different point of view or playing devil's advocate on TYT. Or more importantly, if I've changed my mind, I want to be as honest with my audience as possible.
You have to.
And living in Los Angeles, living in California, which is completely controlled by the Democrats.
Came out the womb like, fuck the Fed. Yeah, no, I mean, I like, fine. Maybe lifelong Republican wasn't the best wording, but you can read that as always been this way. Shout out to Morty. We got the Overlord. Welcome. And hey, we got Box in the building. Welcome. Very good to see you. Now I forget if Guantag's been here because I've been saying both names. I forget, but I think you've been here. You were here. Beck just bioterrorized Anna. Get him! That is a good one and a deep cut if you're referencing what I think you're referencing. Otherwise, it's just a decently funny joke. But if it's a deep cut reference, great reference.
As possible.
You have to.
And living in Los Angeles, living in California, which is completely controlled by the Democratic Party, it has allowed me to see some of the flaws in the policies the Democratic Party is pushing for on a more national scale. And I don't want that to happen if I've experienced some of these policies and they have not worked out so well. But what's interesting is the resistance to any of that critique that you'll see from, not everyone in the audience, not even the majority of the audience, but there's always that very loud minority of people who demand that you only tell them what they want to hear.
I know.
And validate what they already believe.
Or you're a traitor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't you dare tell me true facts that have nothing to do with what makes me feel good.
How dare
Libby said, IP, tech, investment. These things captured government via regulation. So the right never cared about corruption. So when the corruption snowballs, we get the woke media propaganda we see now. Indeed. Well said. Shout out to Ann. Welcome to the party. Said I like Anna. Yeah, she's definitely I used to be a big TYT fan when I was a lefty. And I always really liked her willingness to not just go along with the party lines. Now, she did, but she attempted to break out of that. And the propaganda was too much for her, which isn't an excuse for her, but is, just my assessment on what happened. Welcome. So he said, I wonder how corruption is going to fix corruption in the market and government. Wild times. Well, I hope so. I hope something happens. Box said, I have a hard time listening to Beck. It triggers the same response in my brain that a screeching woman does. I just tune it out. I can't even really control it. Well, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to get these people back because both of them were way further out to the fringes than they are in this particular conversation. And I think that is a very good sign of just the landscape in general. Again, there you go. There you go.
What they want to hear.
I know.
And validate what they already believe.
Or you're a traitor.
Or you're a traitor, exactly. Yeah. Or a grifter.
I think, one of the things, I love that one.
Yeah.
I was against
Shout out to Mike Harlow, who just leans into like, help me grift and pay me money. Yes, this is like, you got to lean into it because everybody will call you as about to talk about. And I'm sure you guys have seen that. Like, it's just anytime somebody says something that they don't like, but maybe you said something they liked before. Now, because you're saying something different, you're a grifter. Yep, the horseshoe effect is real. And again, that's exactly what I mean. That if you're let's make a horseshoe right here and say if you're center right and someone else is center left, then you're a lot closer to each other than the person who is on this side and the extreme on their side of the horseshoe. And similarly, the crazies are completely opposite sides of the horseshoe, yet they're very similar. Very, very similar. Shout out to Harlow.
Traitor.
Or you're a traitor, exactly. Yeah. Or a grifter.
I think, one of the things, I love that one.
Yeah.
I was against Trump in 2016, very vocal about it.
I remember.
And I was a traitor and a grifter. I was just trying to make money. And then he did some things that I said he'll never do. And I agreed with the policies. And I had said, if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I did. And I was a grifter and a traitor again. I mean, it's just, there's no way to win. Do you have hope that there's been a sea change? We're at the very beginning of it, but it's strange. I was just talking to Donald Trump. I was doing a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago a couple of days ago. And I said, I think we're like the cool kids now. I've never been at the cool kids table.
You know what the cool kids don't say? I think we're the cool kids. Just kidding. Zippy says Beck and other pundits have to work with the issues and data at hand. So when shit hits the fan, they become more sane. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? And yeah, different sides of the same coin. And so I like that she's willing to say the unpopular things on the left. Shapiro got ripped a new one for saying those in support of the CEO. Am I going to say that? I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Muckduck. We'll call a shout out to Dwight. The CEO Muckduck, or indifferent anyway, are far left. Shapiro got ripped a new one for. Yeah, I did see that actually. And what do what do you make of that? Because there's I definitely understand if Anna is going to go and say, "Oh, if you're, cheering on the shooter, then you're a horrible person. You must be whatever." And then they would, "Oh, you're far right," or something like that. I could see that because you're just going outside of the orthodoxy. That CEO is bad, therefore his death is good. But the other way around, where where Ben is like, "Oh, these liberals are doing this, that. And then he was like, bro, it's not just the left. There's a lot of people who are, saying the exact same thing. So I don't know. Then there's the whole thing with Brett Cooper that I'm waiting. We're going to cover that. I don't know what's happening yet. So we'll figure it out. Shout out to Brandon Murphy. Welcome to the party. Said he even made a point that politics and our whole culture has become evil in one of the YouTube videos. One of the things I want to see is the truth being told about everything going on around us. Don't we all? Welcome. If he's a jank, for example. Things have become so crazy, he is forced to point out the flaws in the left. Gotcha. With Beck, the left-right uniparty is more clear than ever. Gotcha. And completely great. Shout out to Carl Johansson. Welcome. So I remember the piss Obama bit that Glenn Beck did in what is happening? I don't know what piss Obama is. I don't know what piss Christ is. So I'm going to say no. But welcome to the party. Well, like I said, Tim Pool has been giving me a big grift vibes on the CEO murder. He's literally saying things like conservatives would never do something like that and the like. Not liking that message at all. Yeah, I agree. It's it's a again. I don't like throwing around the grift word because it's gotten so watered down. Like you have to first like I don't understand why we can't just not like that he's over politicizing it. Why does it have to be a grift? Because for it to be a grift, then it means he's purposely politicizing it when he feels that it's not. Why would you expect that him being embroiled in politics all the time wouldn't want to politicize everything? I agree with you, but I disagree. I agree with what your assessment on what's going on his take, except for the fact that you're making the claim that he doesn't actually believe what he's saying. I don't know, but what makes you say he's grifting as opposed to just having a bad take? And said, obviously, red rum is bad, but I think it's a sign of the times. It's not left versus right mostly. It's them versus us. He targeted the wrong person, though. It'll do nothing. Bingo. Yeah, exactly. It's not like that CEO as the. I mean, like, I'm not, defending him as some amazing person, but definitely defending his right to be alive. And definitely defending the idea that, just taking him out, they're just going to put somebody else in there. Not doing shit. Piss Christ was an art piece. It was a cross in a jar of piss. Can never unlearn that. Thank you. So there's a balance in the farce. The two sides can play up the other side as more evil, missing the point of the evils of collectivism. Well said. Well said.
I
think we're like the cool kids now. I've never been at the cool kids table.
This is wild. I look. I'm going to pause on saying the cool kids.
No.
I will say this.
But we've never been even near the cool kids. We're at
clearly.
I mean, we're in the hallway of the cool kids table. You know what I mean? I know that, but we've never. I mean, and he said,
"But what is art?"
YMCA. How is YMCA suddenly cool?
It's not just about that. Trump is, and the audience.
Funkmaster General said, I appreciate how well Anna can read a room and adjust herself accordingly. And good for Glenn making one last effort to remain relevant before he ages out. I don't know. I don't have I'm a little too young for Glenn Beck in his heyday. So I don't fully, this isn't fully landing with me, but I'm going to assume it was a great line. Mox said, Beck is still a dork. Yup. He said, I try to quantify, I try and quantify it as the CEO is a cog. A cog shot a cog. It's silly to think that does anything good. Yep. So I didn't like Glenn Beck before that, but now he has a soft spot in my heart. There we go. We're changing. We're learning. We're being open. And that is all I love to see. And so that's because the right is not all conservatives. Everyone thinks it is, but it's not. It's Christians, mainly conservatives, constitutionalists, etc. I don't like being called a conservative. How's that shit? Me too. Or me neither, I guess.
Suddenly cool.
It's not just about that. Trump is, and the audience hates when I say this, but it's just demonstrably true. He's funny. He's an entertainer. I mean, he was an entertainer before, he was a politician.
It's so frustrating to look back at some of the, the highlights of like peak 2016 Trump and to know that I saw those live and I was mad. I was angry about them. How stupid can you be?
That's for sure.
That's what also causes trouble for him.
It does. It certainly does.
Yeah.
But, I think the reason why you're feeling how you're feeling about the perception.
Not that he should have looked, but if you wanted to be more effective is all we're saying. Nick said, if Anna or Jank, if Anna or Jank ever does a kind podcast? What's a kind podcast? Does a kind podcast with Alex Jones, I will know for sure that nature is healing. Fair enough. Box said, Trump hitting people with chairs in wrestling will never get old. Exactly. Exactly. You never know. Yeah, I mean, would you have expected Anna and Glenn Beck to be sitting down having a reasonable civil conversation 10 years ago?
Of the Republican Party now.
Wait, let's get the back.
I think the reason why you're feeling how you're feeling about the perception of the Republican Party now versus...
Am I cool? Am I cool, guys? Am I cool now? No, Glenn. No.
Versus, you know, the Bush era.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I don't want to say Republican Party because that's not cool. That'll never be cool. There's this new coalition of Trump, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, Elon Musk, people that are coming from all different points of view. It's the way America that I grew up in. It's the way America was. We disagree on a lot, but we have one central vision, and that is, in this case, end this corruption, end this nonsense.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. And, you know, the CEO and my co-host, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, he is really trying to bring like a populist coalition of people together, you know, and individuals, basically Americans who see the rot in our political system thanks to the corruption. And so it's been his top issue ever since I've met him. And so he's been trying to get money out of politics. So these politicians actually represent what the people want, as opposed to what a small group of corporate executives want. And I think that's really the key in fixing what's broken in our political system. The other thing is, I mean, look, members of Congress really should see themselves as public servants, as opposed to individuals who are elected into office just to enrich themselves.
All of them should be.
So we have to ban their ability to trade individual stocks. I mean,
oh yeah, let's do that as a poll. So 50% of you said that you're either lifelong Republicans, or as I adjusted it, that you've always been this way. Then we had 33% of you said slowly. Only 11% said all at once. I'm also in the slowly category. I mean, there were some big moments, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse, George Floyd were definitely big moments, but I think it was a slow burn. It was a slow burn. Yeah, I wish I would have seen this. Jimmy Dore spit tea in his face when he was with TYT, and they had a great show together. Alex said Jimmy's only the second guy to spit in his mouth. Well, there you go. There you go. Buck said, I agree with Glenn here. It's my only issue with politics, the money in it. Wild work. The lefty in me feels like this world, feel like this is upside down world. Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Genesis one, Nick said, myself and a couple friends in 8th grade were reading Rush Limbaugh's book. Even back then, the only argument we got from the other side was, well, Republicans are racist. Yup. Carl said lifelong Ron Paul phase, but he lost, unfortunately. What was it before? Yeah. Should let's say politicians. All politicians. Should politicians be allowed to trade stocks? So let's just start there, and we'll get more specific. So just if any politician, and if you are not any government worker, any politician, and that goes all the way down to comptroller. I don't even know what a comptroller is. Am said, I've never found the left alluring. I always felt like it oozed hypocrites. It did. It's just that the way they were presented, the lies that were presented, were a lot more believable in the world 20 years ago. They didn't update their lies as people started to find out that they were lying. They just doubled down, and enough people still went with them that people, you know, like myself, who would have identified with being more on the left because of, you know, being the sensitivities of humanity and the nice guys and equality and rights and not being a racist. Those were all the things that they acted like they were about. And so, number one, they were good enough at it without the internet and social media to fool a lot of people. Then when we got to the internet and social media age, that was broken down by a lot, but they still had that institutional power strong enough that there was still enough of a coalition to make everybody else on the left who used to like the left But now I was like, I don't know about this. Made them feel like they were in the minority. And so that is why this election was so huge. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, we still love you. We still love you. Carl said Ron Paul still looks good. It's because he doesn't worship evil and left DC to hang out with his grandkids. Smart. Yeah, I mean, is there anything that ages anybody worse than time in Washington? I mean, except for Trump somehow, but that's Trump. Bug said it was a nice way of saying they're both at that table to save their relevance and money. See, I disagree. I genuinely need to see some type of dishonesty or something. And okay, maybe you're right, but what can you point to that you can say that? Nah, it's just too cynical for me. Guanzag said, do we consider red pilled as conservative or just current conservatism? I still hated Bush Jr. after getting red pilled. More the current conservatism in quotes. So the current, MAGA type thing. I don't know. You know what I mean. Shout out to Kevin. Welcome to the party. Good to see ya. It's that policy over party. Yup. Said I consider it current just because the term didn't come around until after 2014. Fair enough. All right, diving back in here.
All of them should be.
So we have to ban their ability to trade individual stocks. I mean, this is madness that they're able to do this.
Ban the trading of stocks. Do not allow them to go into any business that they had any regulation or anything for at least 10 years.
I totally agree.
This revolving door is obscene, absolutely obscene. I say this kindly because I've been on the other side of the table.
I definitely would have cut that silence out. So it looks like out of 10 votes, 90% of you said no politician should be allowed to trade stocks. So then I expected that to be a little bit more even. All right, hold on. We'll come back to that. All right.
And I wish people had given me the benefit of the doubt of being a decent human being and actually meaning what I say, because I do. So I say this believing you're an actual decent human being. Okay.
Okay.
The one thing that I look for in people who say I've seen the light is I know when I've changed, and I've changed many big points of view and many big things in my life, but I can tell you what color the carpet was when I had that epiphany. I can tell you the time of day. I can tell you everything about that moment because it was like, holy mother, I'm wrong. And time stopped and you remember it.
Right.
If you're sincere.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think for some people, change comes slowly. And especially if your career and your life depends on a particular identity, a particular outward identity, you're going to resist internal change.
So Carl said the only reason I'm against banning stock trades is it prevents good people with business sense from being involved in politics. You don't want paupers and moochers as politicians. You need elites. Do we? I'm not saying we don't, but I feel like having and maybe you're using elite in a different way than the elites. But do we? I kind of feel like the structure of government is for the everyman to be able. It's not like we have the best and brightest now. It's not like you like only smart people or only. That's not how it works. Exactly what we were saying before. It's a cult of personality. So I don't know if this tracks. Shout out to Right Click. Welcome. Say, come on, it's a conflict of interest, plain and simple. Great. Box said TYT was a shit show today. Ruben brought up Anna and Mondale. I don't know who that is. Yeah, damn. All right. And so we do need wealthy people, but they don't need to trade stocks to be wealthy. Bingo. Well said. Well said. Yeah, I see what you're getting at, Carl. I definitely that's not out of left field. But this is kind of, my first thought at what we say, the elites. But that doesn't mean like an elite person. So I think, if I'm being, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, but I think what Carl is saying is not the elites, but people who will be elite at doing what we want them to do. And so we do need wealthy people, but we got that one. Jesus said the poor you will have with you always. Same for the elites. They're the most capable people, not necessarily all evil. True. But I don't think that supersedes the straight up conflict of interest. Box said, I would be for stock trading if they had to make it public as soon as the trade hit the market and not 3 months later. Give us that Pelosi advantage. I feel like, yeah, they are. I mean, they're. I don't know enough about it. Enough about it. Guess we're gonna have to do a deep dive on that one. Shout out to Black Salami. Welcome to the party. Any people that can't be bought or pay themselves, yeah, those people don't exist. Zippy said, if you ban them from trading stocks, it forces them to go in on 1 or 2 issues and clock out in a couple of years. Sounds good to me.
Particular identity, a particular outward identity, you're going to resist internal change. And you're going to resist until you can't resist anymore. That's what I feel happened with me.
Okay, so wait. So then what was that? I think we might be saying similar things because it's not, the heavens didn't open up.
Right.
You all of a sudden go, I can't do this. I can't say this anymore. So was there a time? Yes, it happened slowly, but was there a moment that changed you and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore.
We all know what happened to Anna. She got called out for complaining that she was SA'd. She was legitimately SA'd. And her own audience gave her shit for that. Nick said, I think we should change their pay to whatever the state average is that they represent. That's a good idea. I'll do that anyway.
I mean, I would say the phrase I can't do it anymore, for me, applies to a handful of policy issues that the Democratic Party has been championing that I don't agree with.
So there's no personal, there was no personal event or anything that happened in your life to where you went.
I mean, I was sexually assaulted by a homeless guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually assaulted by a homeless guy in Los Angeles in my neighborhood as I was walking my dog. Oh my gosh. And it was awful. I mean, I've talked about it multiple times. And look, I don't want to put myself in this position of being like this victim who's looking for empathy, but
right there is a marked change because that would be exactly what the old Anna would want to do.
It is the moment,
even if she doesn't consciously realize
it, where something very scary happened to me. And
why did that?
It wasn't just that had happened to me. It was the reaction I received from a faction of the left. Okay. The social justice left, if you want to call it that, who think that, in some cases, the criminals are
I know, she could be lying, bro. Like, you never know with Anna.
Actually the victims, and the victims are the criminals. Like, it's insane. And I don't know how big this faction is, but they're loud enough to push me away completely. And so it wasn't that had happened to me. It was the reaction of the left and how they were far more concerned with me talking about it because they felt that was stigmatizing the homeless community. How
dare you stigmatize the unhoused? No, it's more about the thing that they did. But, don't let that get in the way of a narrative. Shout out. I got my, I just grabbed some out of the crypto market. And when I jumped in a little early. And then I didn't really know enough to think about like, okay, this is what I want to do. And this is my exit plan. So I kind of got in being like, okay, I'm going to do this long term. And then I was like, oh, now what? I didn't have any type of game plan. So it's kind of just timing the market. And so, you know, it was just, it was up there. I was like, let me strike while the iron's hot. But for the most part, I'm a hodler. Diamond hands, baby. Anna said she's literally been at TYT since her career started. I think she's genuine. Yeah. I mean, if somebody could show me what she is saying or doing. Now, again, in terms of reading the room, I'm not a fucking retard. I understand that you act differently in different circumstances. But to say that is grifting, to say that she's doing that because she needs to make money is just, it's kind of like a 14-year-old's assessment of anything that you don't like. Kind of gay. Gontag said, after that story, I can see Anna at the gun range if they're acceptable in California. Well, they are, but I don't know how easy it is to get a gun. Indeed. How dare she?
I have never gone out of my way to say negative things about homeless people. I mean, people who are living out on the streets are, in a lot of cases, victims who need help, right?
Yes.
But I was victimized by a guy that was strung out on something, could have been meth. You know, he was jerking around as he was walking toward me with his buddy. And
gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But it took a while for me to get over that because I still have to walk my dog. And so multiple times a day, I literally have to think about that incident. And so I thought maybe it would help to talk about it. And then when I did talk about it, I totally regretted it because I was shocked at the way people reacted to me. But what that moment taught me was some of the characteristics of the quote unquote left that I thought were good, right? Like the kindness, the open-mindedness, the, you know, willingness to go out of your way to look out for people who need help, like that kind of stuff. There's a portion of the left that has shed those characteristics. They've taken on a more nihilistic approach to things, and they don't even believe in reforms. They just believe that everything about every political system, every program we have, every institution we have is just worthless and we need to burn it all down.
And that is a necessary part of getting to a place where you can understand a secular moral structure. But that is not the end. But the same way that wokeness is just not what people want, it proliferated throughout society because that was what was accepted. And so similarly, this nihilistic tendency of, either burn it all down or nothing matters or whatever is a stunted evolution of humanity. We need to go through that and then be like, oh, okay, even though there's no for the person individually to believe, even though I personally believe there's no God, even though I personally believe there's no inherent purpose to the universe or to my life or to anything, I'm still here and I still want to do what I want to do. And that includes living in a productive society. It is indeed possible.
Every program we have, every institution we have is just worthless and we need to burn it all down. Okay. So that nihilistic nature, I think, leads to a lot of really bad ideas and terrible behavior online. And that's pushing people out, pushing people away. And you look at places like Los Angeles, for instance, right? Or Cook County, which is where Chicago is. I paid very close attention to Cook County and what the election results were going to be in Cook County, because you have an influx of migrants going to Chicago, right? You have a lot of anger among the Black community in Chicago because they've been nickel and dimed by their local government.
It's crazy. And
at the same time, their mayor, Brandon Johnson, is doling out the cash for migrants and justifying it. And so they're angry. And so I'm watching all of this happen, and I'm just like, Democrats need to wake up, because more and more voters feel like they're being abandoned by the Democratic Party, economically speaking. And everyone got mad at me. Everyone's like, oh, you're anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-immigrant.
Immigrants built this country.
Yes, my parents are immigrants.
Yes.
Okay.
I said shit. Me too. Shout out to Box with the gifted membership. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for Morty. That's only the second one, guys. He's getting hungry, and I don't know. We're getting away from this Swogo. I thought you guys loved to see me on the floor, but we might have to change that. But thank you so very, very much, sir. Very much appreciated. Ant said, our entire lives are like a kaleidoscope, constantly changing and impacting us. Those things change the person you are in a lot of cases. I know because I've changed. Me too. Yeah, absolutely. Carl said, all of the political analysts I trust will eat crow publicly when they are wrong on anything. That is what is missing with TYT. A very long public apology and crow eating session. I disagree. Because they are not like, maybe eventually they will get there, but I don't think they are in the position of like, oh no, we were wrong and we need to fix this. I don't think that's what they believe. And so if they did that, that would be grifting. I think they're like, oh, okay, we were kind of just off base, so we need to adjust and figure it out. Why is that unreasonable? Hey, shout out to Guam Tag. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. There we go. And again. Oh my goodness. Thank you, sir. That's 3, baby. That's 3. Oh my goodness. Guam Tag. Coming in hot, baby. 3 in a row. My goodness. Thank you. Look how happy he is. Oh, thank you very, very much. Oh, it's all for him. My little buddy and our boy Funky Fresh Funk Master General out sponsoring himself with his 3rd ever. Just kidding. Thank you so very much, guys. Very much appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I really, really, really do appreciate it. And you can see Morty does as well. You guys are awesome. Dilly to you. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's keep the party raging.
Anti-immigrant. I'm not anti-immigrant.
Immigrants built this country.
Yes, my parents are immigrants.
Yes.
Okay, I am not anti-immigrant, but I do have a problem with the Biden administration neglecting the border, pretending like there wasn't a migrant crisis at all, allowing these municipalities to be inundated with migrants without any federal resources to deal with the problem. And what? We're going to pretend like that's not going to cause.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't, nobody owes you an apology unless they've wronged you. So if anything, they certainly wouldn't be apologizing. Like she certainly wouldn't be apologizing to someone like us. If anything, she would be apologizing to her audience. Being wrong is not a moral faux pas. I don't know. That's kind of weird.
Without any federal resources to deal with the problem. And what? We're going to pretend like that's not going to cause electoral harm? Of course it is. So when you look at places like LA, there was an 11-point swing toward the Republican Party. Kamala Harris still won, LA County, but 11% toward Republicans, that's crazy in Los Angeles.
My problem with the policy there, again, look, I could be friends and debate and whatever with anyone. If it's honest. Thomas Jefferson said,
if it's honest. Shout out again. Oh my goodness. Funky. So this one is actually my 3rd super chat ever. You missed it, Bubs. You missed it. There you go. Thank you. Out-sponsoring yourself. My goodness. It's insanity. But the Overlord loves it. Thank you, sir.
With anyone, if it's honest. Thomas Jefferson said, question with boldness even the very existence of God, for if there be a God, he must surely, rather honest questioning over blindfolded fear.
Damn, I wanted to get it at the end of that line.
Of God, for if there be a God, he must surely, rather honest questioning over blindfolded fear. Honest questioning means if I ask you a question and you present me with an answer and I'm like, I'm open to changing. You know what I mean?
Believe nothing except that anything is possible.
We don't have honest questioning. We now have got you questioning. We have cancel you questioning. And And beyond that,
Gotcha,
we
bitch.
have this system that props up lies and a government that is willing to engage in lies. If you wanted to bring people in and open the borders the way you did, and then move people with our tax dollars on airplanes to cities where you're changing everything in that city.
That's racist.
Can we have that conversation first?
Mm.
And
Nope.
part of the problem was they were saying it's not
What do you think this is? A republic?
happening. Well, yes, it is. And you're doing it behind our back in the middle of the night.
Well, it's interesting because, and look, I can definitely be honest about my own flaws and my own mistakes because I bought the mainstream media narrative that there wasn't a migrant crisis.
Really?
And
Well, there you go. Does that count? Does that count? I really thought there was no migrant crisis as Anna Kasparian. What else do you want? She didn't lie to you about it, unless she's lying right now, but she's saying she didn't know. It's not a crime to be stupid.
because I bought the mainstream media narrative that there wasn't a migrant crisis.
Really?
And yeah, I did believe it. I believe because, look, I was an idiot because, I mean, who do you trust in today's media landscape, right? There's a lot of liars out there.
Yeah,
and when it comes to mainstream media, the fact of the matter is they do play defense more and more for the Democratic Party. And that's an issue because there was a time when that didn't happen. And so
was there?
I still believed in their good faith reporting, even though it turns out, a lot of these reports would omit really important details about what's really going on. And so it wasn't until Texas Governor Greg Abbott started busing or sending migrants to blue cities where that woke me up.
Dilly to Greg Abbott. That was such a thing. I don't even know what to call it. That was such a big moment that, clearly it woke her up. Nick said we better appreciate him now because Funkmaster is going to reach enlightenment soon. Oh, because of Funkmaster, he's going to reach enlightenment soon, and we will lose him to Nirvana. Not King Nirvana, the Buddhist one. Truth. I don't want to get dark, but I was just, oh man, I was thinking about him last night, and that's gonna be rough. But happy thoughts. And said just because we disagree with her doesn't make her a liar. Bingo. She believes what she believes. Get off your high horse. Agreed. There are definitely worse. I will be happy if he's in eternal nirvana. That is where he belongs. He earned it.
Started busing or sending migrants to blue cities where that woke me up. That woke a lot of people up. And suddenly America realizes, oh, there is a migrant crisis.
Why did that wake you up?
Well, because all of a sudden you're seeing migrants sleeping on the floor in the police department in Chicago because they don't have shelter for these people, right? You're seeing, I love watching streams of city council meetings because that's how you understand what's really going on in these cities, right? These are real people who live there and they get their opportunity to speak.
Chicago's been an amazing thing to watch.
Wild.
And I'll you guys know that I simp for TikTok, and you don't easily come across, I don't know about your algorithms, but I am so much more likely to see a video of a local town hall meeting, like exactly what they're talking about on TikTok, than I am on scrolling through X or whatever else. So, just saying, there's a reason that they want to ban it, and it's not because of China. Because I didn't say she was a liar. I just said she was wrong on almost everything and said horrible things about us. She will sink or swim. It doesn't matter what I think. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch every city council meeting from Chicago because it's
crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And for me, rather than relying
TikTok just knows
on mainstream.
And it's funny because I don't fucking go outside. I don't do shit, especially after it drops below 50 degrees. I mean, it happened to be warmer today, but point being, it was raining anyway. I'm sure you've heard about the drones flying over different parts of New Jersey. And last night I was walking Morty, and I don't see my neighbor as often. No, it's not. No, it's not. It can't happen. But I don't get to talk to her as often because it's just cold, and I'm not spending as much time outside. So I saw her, and she asked me about it, and I didn't even. I mean, I heard about it in general, but did you hear about that they were, new instances? I wonder. Ooh, I'm gonna try and find something on this. Should let's do it together. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Well,
thank you all for joining.
I actually, you know what? I just want to share this with you guys because I found it, and then while we do that, then I'm going to look at my thing. Quick detour. This is a super detour, but this is completely irrelevant to everything.
You have all made it to the final round of auditions for the role of Albert Einstein. Let's start.
So Hollywood casting an actor to play the role of a beloved white person.
Introducing ourselves.
Okay. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm Steve. I'm Greg. I'm Alex. I'm Tim. I'm Anthony. I'm Caleb.
One more time, in case you missed it.
Thank you all for joining the Zoom call.
Listen closely.
The final round of auditions for the role of Albert Einstein. Let's start by introducing ourselves.
Okay. Hi, I'm Adam. I'm Steve. I'm Greg. I'm Alex. I'm Tim. I'm Anthony. I'm Caleb.
If you know, you know. All right.
Zoom call. You have all made it to the final round of
Stop. Yeah. Quick tip. Oh, does this only happen on? Wow. Okay. So, quick tip on mobile. If you search just a period, it'll show you your watch history. So, okay, that was a quick detour. Let me try to find this. We're gonna go back in. I see a bunch of comments here. We'll get those. We got it.
Chicago's been an amazing thing to watch.
Wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch every city council meeting from Chicago because it's
crazy.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And for me, rather than relying on mainstream media reporting or anyone's reporting, to be quite honest with you, what I'll do is I'll go out of my way and I'll watch, the entirety of a government function, local government function.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to real people and I get a sense of where hearts and minds really are. And so on election night, I wasn't surprised at all. I knew it was coming. I totally knew it was coming. I knew that Cook County was going to swing. I think it's about 8 percentage points toward Republicans.
I mean, anyone who was paying attention did.
I knew LA County. And
does anyone, while I have stuff here with the drones in Jersey, has anybody not seen anything about it? I could pull up a video if you guys care.
This is what I was surprised about. I did not expect Donald Trump to flip 10 counties in California from blue to red. But I guess I shouldn't have been surprised about that either.
Nope.
Because when you look at the conditions that people are living in a Democrat-controlled state, well, yeah, you can understand why people are turning their backs on the Democratic Party. You can understand why people are frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted for.
Gone. All right, Nick said, not sure if I have. So, all right, let's see what this is.
There they are.
And I'm gonna try to find this thing, and then I see your comment.
There they are. Marmora, New Jersey.
We shouldn't be outside.
Go. But here they are. They look like a fucking triangle. They look like a triangle.
Oh my God, here we go. Here it is.
Come on, I really hope this video comes up. Because it was Joey Diaz talking about it like 2017 on Rogan.
F-16 just flew over. No way.
Nothing there. All right, keep. Oh, that's not it. Give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. No. Where is it? Come on, baby. Come on. Be doing too much goddamn scrolling. All right, we'll keep this open, and I'll grab your comments, and then hopefully we will find it. All right, where we at here? Not getting banned. For debating. I don't know about all of that. Usually the debates I see on TikTok are cringe, but maybe that's just my
There they are.
I'm sure the TikTok debates, or I mean the political TikTok debates, are not the peak of debate. That's about. I'm trying to find some more stuff for you. Secular talk on Twitter says money can fix homelessness, yet California has poured billions into it. Yep. It does. I mean, it does, but nobody knows where they're coming from. Nobody knows where they're coming from. So, all right, I have one more here. Let's go with this. Just what do you? I mean, what do you guys think they are? Like, what could it be? I tend not to be super crazy about trying to figure out what it is, specifically because it just doesn't really like. What are we going to be able to understand about it? Like, it's not like they're gonna tell us, like, "Oh, you got it. That's exactly what it is." And that's if they even know. I can't find this, but I mean, it's fucking drones. It's drones. The Tic Tac was coming out of the ocean. I would guess a drone from a submarine. Yeah, I mean, it is. What do you hope it is? What do you hope it is? Is maybe a better question. Oh, I definitely get cold easy. Bunka said, it's aliens. Am I the only one that realizes they're looking for the Overlord so that they may praise him? I hope not. I hope not. They can take him when he's dead. They can take him when he's dead. Right click said, I have a weird feeling it's something to do with Trump. His property is right underneath there. I wonder if they are planning something against him. That would be wild. That would be wild. I hope it's aliens. Yeah, I mean, I hope. Well, let's put it this way. Whatever it is, I hope that it is something that we can explain, something that we have an explanation for. That at that point, either we can say, "Oh, that's a lie. That's not what it is," or "Oh, okay, that makes sense." Okay, I'm gonna try to find this. Joey Diaz, UFO, Jersey, Joe Rogan. Come on, baby. Yes.
What people don't know is that Hudson County, New Jersey,
Hell yeah.
northern New Jersey, is the #1 place in the country where they have the most UFO sightings.
Really? Northern New Jersey.
Look it up, Jamie, if you get a minute, please, not to be rude.
But isn't that like near a couple airports?
What people don't know is that Hudson County, New Jersey, northern New Jersey, is the #1 place in the country where they have the most UFO sightings.
Really? Northern New Jersey.
Look it up, Jamie, if you get a minute, please, not to be rude.
But isn't that like near a couple airports?
No, it's closer to like you know, like when you live in New York City and you look at the Hudson River, they say that people go on their balcony, they're drinking coffee, they're talking on the phone, and they'll see a little flying saucer go by.
Really?
And
Fucking cocksucker. I just grabbed it by the monkey.
For a fact that in 1970,
But I mean, Joe was right. There's JFK, there's Newark Airport, there's I mean, technically Trenton Airport is a little bit closer near to me, and then did I say JFK? And then what's the other one? I don't know. The other one in Newark.
6,
A little one?
whatever the fuck they are. I know for a fact that in 1975 and 1976, you could check me out on this. A UFO landed in Hudson County Park. I was a kid in
Oh wait, what did he say?
1976.
Okay, 1976.
You could check me out on this. A UFO landed in Hudson County Park. I was a kid, and the next day the feds locked off the park. They had yellow tape. They had samples. Go look it up, dog. There's a UFO. You see that's called, North Bergen is where I'm from. That's called, I forget what it's called, but it's a circular building. So they did so much coke in there in the 80s, they called it the grinder. That's what they called it, because it was shaped like the Stonehenge.
All right, let's see what we got here. I tried to find an article, but it didn't give me anything. Oh, this is the one that they're talking about. All right. Let's say can you guys see this? Where am I? Okay. It's a residential apartment building. Blah 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 blah. The Stonehenge incident, or North Hudson Park UFO sightings, occurred January 12th, 1975. See, he said 1976. He's a liar. According to George Obarski, while driving, he heard static over his radio and saw in North Hudson Park a dark, round spacecraft with brightly lit windows hovering over the ground. 10 small, hooded, identically dressed figures emerged from the UFO, dug up soil, and collected in bags before returning to the crash. He returned to the site the next day and found the holes. Months later, he told the story to ufologist Bud Hopkins, who, with other ufologists, found independent witnesses, including a doorman at the Stonehenge, who also reported sighting the UFO. See, this stuff is really cool, but the problem is, like, okay, now what? Okay, cool, but now what?
The Stonehenge. I have a couple friends that live there. People that lived in that building have seen UFOs for fucking years. And if you go to YouTube, there's an actual North Hudson Park UFO.
Wow.
They dug up. They came out to mark. There's a liquor store, and the liquor store guy says he's seen the lights.
Mhm.
You heard like the organ music that they play. Ooh. They landed. A couple.
There you go.
Martians
Get us
got
some
out,
info.
they took
Get us
samples,
some
and got back in
info.
the thing and took off. There's a YouTube thing. There's a History Channel special about it, and I still remember being a young kid.
Did you find anything, Jamie?
Not give.
It's just, yeah, that was what's popping up. All that stuff about that building and.
Oh
tons of
yeah,
things.
no.
Is there anything that says a UFO landed?
That's the story I'm reading right now. Is what he's saying. Yeah.
And witnesses. You know, it's not just one guy that says I know UFO. It's people who got knocked on the door and said, "Did you see anything at 11, 10 at night?" And they said, "You know what? There were lights flashing outside." They contacted police departments to see if there was any. They went full. Then the FBI came in.
All right, what we got here?
Circled the park.
This is a time lapse in Florham Park. What do we got here? This is a dope ass camera. Where is this camera? There's one. Let's see. Oh, there's another one. I mean, those kind of look just like shooting stars. There's another one over here. Definitely not shooting. Well, okay, that's not a shooting star. What the fuck? That's wild. And again, people were saying they were like the size of small cars. Wild. And yeah, it's crazy. Like, again, I'm very interested in like what is going on here. But the fact that we have no way of verifying it, now that's just space being taken up in my mind of something that I can't I can't solve. History Channel, the what is it? Ancient Alien guy is from outer space. Yeah, right. Box said, I thought it was Welsh for the longest time. What? Oh, you guys are talking about each other. Yeah. DARPA toys, very possible. All right, dang bag in here.
At the loss of $24 billion that was allocated.
Oh, what do we got here from Am?
Congress is holding hearings right now on all of these drones or UFOs appearing all over the United States. Congressman Smith in New Jersey just a few moments ago said that he's witnessed them as well. Went to the beach area with New Jersey residents, saw over 50 of these orbs coming out of the ocean, flying up to the sky. Like, what in the heck are these things?
Shout out to Dylan. Welcome to the party. We are talking with Glenn Beck and Anna Kasparian, but taking a little detour about the supposed UFOs over Jersey. Welcome.
Over 50 of these orbs coming out of the ocean, flying up to the sky. Like, what in the heck are these things? We can't get answers. Who knows? Why are they flying over nuclear installations? What the heck are they doing? Congress is trying to get answers as we speak. This just from just a few minutes ago on Capitol Hill. Why don't you shoot?
Put a one in the chat if you. I saw that they're doing something live right now. If you want to check in with what they're talking about, we're not going to stay for long because I'm sure it's going to be dry and boring unless we happen to be lucky. But put a one in the chat if you want to check that out. The live hearing. It's happening right now.
Shoot these things down. Watch
Here.
Is that something that it'd be hard to do? And then why do you need to intercept data in order to do that? If the object is there, destroy it.
So it's a good question. I think the way it works, as I understand it, and my colleagues can talk about this operationally. If you had, let's say, a football game, and you would have a perimeter, it would be declared as a temporary flight restricted area.
Okay.
So around that, you're going to have a buffer zone. You have an area where it's a no-go, and then you have a larger area around that where you might want to detect what's flying, and then you have a larger area around that where you might be tracking, but regular commercial drone use is okay. And so as they're getting closer and closer to the facility, you're detecting originally the signals to see what is that drone. You're trying to identify the drone. Oh, is that a UPS? Is that
like a long distance radar or something like that?
Exactly. So is that a UPS drone that's just delivering a package somewhere? Let it go on its way. Is it getting closer?
Is that a UPS drone?
Shout out to B. Hey, welcome. Said my mom saw a boomerang-shaped UFO with massive round red lights under each point. She was on a date at the drive-through theater in the early 90s. They came early, so the sun hadn't set yet. Crazy. Welcome.
Right. Is that a UPS drone just trying to deliver a package? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe all of these drones are just holiday shoppers, and they're just delivering packages.
Dropping off FBI jackets at the FBI office.
Or something.
Are they stored?
Let's see what the did I not just search this?
Is what we have today. I would imagine that this would grow over time.
What do you think that
you can't
some of these terrorist cells that might be in the country right now, or maybe even outside of our borders, what do you think that they're looking at when they see a hearing like this and they see that you guys still, after almost a month, don't know who these drones are? What do you think that they're thinking?
So I would be measured in how we speak about our capability and what our limitations and capacity is. However, I'll say to you that it's not as good as I wish it was.
That sounds even worse.
What our limitations and capacity is. However, I'll say to you that it's not as good as I wish it was, and we'll continue to work to make it better.
Yeah, well, when you're only spending $500,000 a year, it's probably not going to be very good, is it?
The only thing I would say about that is that this is an enterprise-wide problem. It's not just a technological problem. That most of that $11 billion budget for the FBI gets after threats to Americans, this being one of them. And the way we apply resources, personnel, operational, all of that to include technology to get after a threat that would threaten American lives, I don't think that $500,000 for the technology part of it adequately captures our commitment to protecting Americans.
I want to shift real quick because you guys have been talking about using electronic warfare to counter some of these drones. What about drones that aren't susceptible to counter warfare, like your fiber optic drones? What are you guys doing about those? I'll start with you, Mr. Jones.
So all options are on the table right now. We are exploring kinetic options.
And so this is the kind of the problem is that we're thinking and we're looking and we're testing everything. It's like, cool, great. Let me know when you have something that you are able and or willing to share. Actually, wait. I want to check out that chat. What is a chat looking like?
Thank you, Chairman Pfluger. Thank you all for being here today. I just want to follow up on what my colleague asked regarding what happened in New York and New Jersey. These drones, unmanned aircrafts have also flown over my district. A number of constituents have seen them over a power plant in Brooklyn. They were coming over the Verrazano Bridge. And I will remind everyone or explain to everyone here that Verrazano Bridge connects Staten Island and Brooklyn. And on the Staten Island side, you have Fort Wadsworth, which is a U.S. Coast Guard sector New York base. And then in the Brooklyn side, right on the other side of the Verrazano Bridge.
Just the Galactic Federation taking a trip. All right. So they don't have any information for us. But definitely something to keep your eye on. Drones are going to be the way of the future for sure. Bog said, I said it before, but I make drone components. Some days I feel bad about it. Well, stop doing it then. Simple as that. And so my great grandpa was in the local militia in the Philippines and fought against the Japanese. Wow. Family history is wild, right? All right, diving back in, yeah.
Frustrated at the corruption, at the loss of $24 billion that was allocated to help the homeless, when homelessness only exploded during that time, and that money is now unaccounted for. It was funneled to nonprofits whose executives get paid minimum $200,000, $250,000 a year, and they have multiple executives who are making at least that or more. And you just see the waste, and you see the real grift. And so for people out there who are concerned about the grifters, take a good hard look at the systemic grifting that's happening right now. It's disgusting.
Systemic grifting? What exactly is systemic grifting?
It is, again, I think, the problem with the public-private partnership.
100%, yes.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like if there's something the size of even a smart car that's just flying over where there's where there's buildings and people and stuff, like you can't just destroy it. They did say it was coming out of the ocean, so I think they could just kind of show up at the shore and if that weren't past their limitations, as Homeboy said.
These NGOs, let them raise their own money. Let them, if they're doing good, they will prosper. You know, people will find them. The government just funneling millions of dollars. It's a money laundering. Ukraine, I don't know where you stand in Ukraine, but good God, man, that is a money laundering system, and millions are being affected, and hundreds of thousands are in a meat grinder right now. For what?
Well, exactly. Buck said if it was my company, I would sell drones to help people, like search and rescue, Uber Eats. But I guess the government sinks its teeth into small business too. Exactly. We don't want the government near our businesses. Yes, so my daddy said if I'm ever taken by those things, to pray to Jesus and they will flee. I genuinely don't know if you're making a joke or not, so I'm just gonna move on.
I mean, look, I think that the UK and the US made a big mistake in discouraging Volodymyr Zelensky from continuing or engaging.
Well, don't forget, Nick brings up the surveillance drones. Don't forget that the entire Rittenhouse thing was caught on a surveillance drone, and it wasn't. I don't think it was public until the trial. They're like, wait, you saw all this from bird's eye view? So that's definitely a possibility.
In discouraging Volodymyr Zelensky from continuing or engaging in peace negotiations early on in that war.
Yeah.
So that's the strongest opinion I have about what has transpired in Ukraine. My heart goes out to the Ukrainians. They're trying to defend themselves. They were invaded wrongfully, obviously, but I feel that the way the United States has carried out its foreign policy, certainly, starting in the Bush years, and it's only gotten worse from that, it's not really benefiting anybody. And it's certainly not benefiting the American people, which is another reason why I think you're noticing a bit of a shift or realignment when it comes to our political parties. And look,
it's bizarre.
Trump came in and he just kind of messed everything up in the Republican Party. And it's really weird to find.
Thank goodness. Thankfully, he messed everything up in the Republican Party because the Republican Party needed to be messed up. Rittenhouse is still a touchy subject on the left. That's so gay. That's so gay. Why would it be touchy? Oh, because they still think he killed black people. That's why. Kyle said the Pentagon is building a new fleet of underwater Monterey drones that look very similar to these drones. They've also researched underwater flying drones in the past. Occam's razor. I mean, that would be the least surprising thing if it was just our government and all of that we were just watching is complete theater. That would be the least surprising thing. The second least surprising thing would be, aliens that we know and not know, but I mean that we've known of, and they just didn't talk about it. Yeah. They show the video in court. That's the first time I saw it because I was watching. I watched every second of that trial because it was so between the actual event and then the Jacob Blake riots, it was so much of an inflection point for how I think about politics and stuff. So I remember that very, very closely. Last 2 days? What happened in the last 2 days? Am said, I don't think they're demonic. It's asinine to think we're alone in the universe, but I also don't think they're aliens. It's our government readying the public for a false flag. Again, also very possible. Very, very possible. Not your main alien, just your side chick. There you go. There you go.
Trump came in and he just kind of like messed everything up in the Republican Party. And it's really weird to find myself in this place where you hear Republican voters take on this anti-war, identity. And Democratic voters take on a more pro-war, like neoconservative type flavor.
Kamala speech at the convention it was like, what?
Yeah.
Are you Dick Cheney? What is that? It
Not
was
Dick Cheney,
bizarre.
she was honored by his
I know.
which disgusted me.
But I think there's something to be said.
Guys, let's do a really quick. Let's do a mass share. Everybody take the URL and hit that share button. Plaster it wherever you can. It does not matter where. It does not even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Simply, you telling YouTube, I like this and want more people to see it will help the channel immensely. Please share the video. Thank you so very much.
That I think with conservatives, the definition of conservative, what I believe is the right definition, is we look at things that are happening. What's working? Save that. Get that part out of here because it's corrupt, it's garbage, it's old think, whatever. And progressive.
You waited till now? Come on, man.
Should be, we're more anxious to move forward. Let's go. The two of those things together is what provides the balance,
Totally. You need that tension.
You need that. Yeah. It's important. It's an eagle. Can't fly with just one wing. But when you look at what has happened to the conservatives, I started changing 2006. I mean, I was all for the war. I was all for that. Yeah, I was all for it because I believed that we could change things. I was dumb enough to believe that you can hand people freedom and they want it, or it will just work. It barely works here. You know what I mean? You have to earn it. You have to want it. And I was also naive enough to think that we were the good guys.
That's a great point. I mean, look at Iran. I mean, we orchestrated.
Yeah, that's why we're like, oh, it's very possibly Blue Beam because we don't know what that is. So we're going to say it definitely is a thing that we don't know what it is. It directly involves one world government by using a UFO antagonist to scare the people into accepting it. Behaves. So the world has seen those flying things since early times. They are in cave paintings and onward. And still, we have no clue. We have no clue. And that at some point, you got to be like, okay, well, that's just one more thing that I don't know.
Orchestrated a coup in Iran, which is part of the reason why, you have this theocratic, situation that we're now fighting against.
Right.
Doing regime change is not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
The U.S. should not be in the business of engaging in regime change wars, period.
George, I don't know if you've read his farewell address. Okay. If we would just do that, we would have been fine. But the State Department for decades has been on this path of we're going to control everything.
Hey, shout out to Funk Master General. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. And that takes us past the halfway mark. Oh my goodness, guys, that is 7. We have about a half hour left. We have a half hour left and we need 6 more. And I'm on the floor, $2 or more, and we will get it $2. That is it. Thank you so very, very much, sir. Out sponsoring your goddamn self.
Been on this path of we're going to control everything. If you're a country that says we don't torture, but we'll ghost plane you to some place that will torture.
Or if you say you don't torture, and they're like, well, we tortured some folks.
You're a monster.
100%.
You're a monster.
100%. I can't believe I'm hearing you say this stuff. It's
I've said this for
crazy.
years. I've
That's
said it for years.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, but to her point, you said very different things for very many more years.
But you have to be consistent with your principles. And I think there's a lot of conservatives, and I'm so happy to see that now there are some Democrats that are doing the same thing. Like I was for big food. I was for big pharma. And then I saw it. And I feel like saying to Democrats, guys, you were right. Now, why have you abandoned that position? Because we would agree. We could
think about how crazy that is. If we could all together, like if being against big pharma was not a politicized thing, being against big food was not a politicized thing, the vaccine, that wasn't a politicized thing. Imagine where we would be as a country. If, we would have other shit to fight about, but the things that y'all were literally saying 10, 15 years ago. And so when we say 10, 15 years ago, okay, if we could say, well, the Democrats were saying this 50 years ago, those are different people. Those are different people. And yes, of course, a lot changes within 20 years. But I mean, I would assume, right, but most of the voting bloc remains the same for any 20-year period. It's only the young people coming in and the old people dying off. Everybody else within a 20-year period is going to be the same voting bloc. Not necessarily the same exact voting bloc, but the same people who are voting. You were right. Well, we were right. I was on the left back then, but I've always been right. But you were right. And now that we agree with you, I'm like, nah. It's all a game. It's all a fucking game.
Now, why have you abandoned that position? Because we would agree. We could get so much done.
Can I ask you something? I'm genuinely curious what you think about this, because I started to really sour on Biden when, in my opinion, he was pretending to fight for his agenda. And part of his agenda was to...
Oh, you mean with like the crime bill?
Allow for our Medicare system to just simply negotiate drug prices with pharmaceutical companies. Believe it or not, and this is the most anti-capitalist thing imaginable, right? Because capitalism, you're supposed to have competition. You're supposed to welcome negotiation.
Yes.
Our Medicare system, not allowed to negotiate drug prices. So he was pursuing a provision in his Build Back Better plan that would allow for the negotiations to happen. Well, then they whittled it down to 10 pharmaceutical drugs. Oh, what can we do? This is the thing. The Democrats like to play good cop, bad cop. So you'll have the majority of the Democratic Party, in the Senate in particular, pretend like they're all on board with Biden's agenda and the idea of having Medicare negotiate drug prices.
We have the same problem in the Republican Party, by the way.
And then you'll always have the bad cops who are willing to raise their hands and basically torpedo that provision. And that's essentially what happened with Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. But don't make the mistake of thinking they were the only ones, because sitting on the bleachers waiting were other corporate Democrats who would step in if they needed to prevent the passage of that provision. And so I love watching Democrats celebrate themselves, because now Medicare can negotiate the drug prices of 10 drugs. And sure, that's better than nothing. But I mean, I'm not going to give you a...
We're so amazing because of all these 10 drugs.
Award for whittling down a policy that made sense. That would have saved tax.
I mean, if we just going back there, what would be the grifty part of what she just said? Just curious.
Taxpayers in this country a lot of money.
I think we could come to agreement on this easily. That's why I'm so excited about RFK. Get them out of government. Get them out. I don't want them anywhere else. I want our government to have that limited work of just, who do you run to if the police are in part of it? You can't run to the press and say, hey, look, because the press no longer is protecting the little guy. They're protecting the pharmaceutical company or the government, which is the same.
The press was doing positive PR for the Democrats on this issue, as the Democrats essentially destroyed their own agenda. Okay, like it was ridiculous. So I just, if you're going to run to the press to get accurate information about what's going on, I mean,
what I'm saying though on that is there is no good cop. We are a system of checks and balances. Congress and the Senate, they're all backroom deals. I talked to
Facts. Shout out to Anonymous Carpet. Welcome to the party. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hanging out with Glenn Beck and Anna Kasparian. A conversation we never thought would actually.
We are a system of checks and balances. Congress and the Senate, they're all backroom deals. I talk to congressmen and senators who say, what the hell am I even doing here? We don't debate anything. We don't talk about anything. They come out and say, here it is. You have 10 minutes to read it and vote, and you're voting this way.
Yep. And I mean, for all the, for all you could say about Marjorie Taylor Greene, that is a big thing that she kind of spearheaded, bringing to light when she was on Timcast. She always talks about how she would force people to come in and vote. And there'd be like 10 people, and bills would pass and affect people's lives. And Congress people and senators would just not be there. Like, how is that how our government runs? Shout out to Kelly Green. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. Good to see ya, brother.
That's there's no checks and balance. The administration, does the president work for all of these administrators, or do the administrators work for the elected guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's all out of control. And the one that was supposed to watch is the media. And the media, and now with big tech, they're all part of that system. We have to find a way to go back to I really feel like if we could, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again and reset it to its
Shout out to the IT crowd.
factory settings? You know what I mean? There are things that we need that we can't cut. There are things that we've got, but we have got to. It's wrong.
What's wrong with this one? What's wrong with
audited from the inside on both sides? We have to. I don't want to.
You spelled this wrong.
The American idea is right. It's great. It's to create a more perfect nation, meaning we're never going to be perfect. And the mission statement in the Declaration of Independence, there's nothing more inspiring from any country in the history of the world than that. I want to try to create that, knowing
I said shit. Me too. And to me, that means making sure that regardless of whether or not you believe in a god or a gods, or you believe in this, you believe in that there is a way for you to be part of the American project, the American political landscape. There is a place for everyone, as long as you are following what Americans want. Now that kind of gets back on itself. What do Americans want? Well, it depends on what Americans hear. I get that, but we need to have we need to be able to have the discussions. We need to be able to have the discussions.
History of the world than that. I want to try to create that, knowing we'll never get there, but we can make progress towards it. So we can't jettison everything, but we have got to go in with,
He's talking about the Bible.
Even know if you can do it with surgical knives anymore, because it's so big and out of control. Just start chopping down some of reshaping the tree.
Yeah, there's been a lot of attention focused on, DOGE,
Trim
right?
the
The
bush.
Department of Government Efficiency.
They need to make that into a shirt. Somehow. I don't know. How can they connect Doge to some type of tree or plant imagery? Trimming the bush.
And what they're going to focus their energies on. I'm cautiously optimistic, mostly because of the fact that a lot of the conversation is focused on the Pentagon. And there's agreement on both sides of the political aisle that there needs to be a serious accounting for all of the resources that are being squandered on the Pentagon.
That also has to happen in things that you're going to like. I mean, I believe the Pentagon is completely out of control.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been able to pass a single audit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with that, but I believe defense is very important. We could go back and forth, but there's also stuff on the other side. We have squandered trillions of dollars. How do we have a government that says, geez, where did we put that $2 trillion? How does that happen?
Yeah, it's crazy. It is. I mean, I agree with you. I think that even when it comes to, look, I agree with programs that are meant to help the homeless. I totally am. So that's the type of those are the types of policies
effective.
if they're effective, but there's a lot of waste because the way that those policies are being implemented in places like California isn't really meant to help the homeless.
Right. And so this is what people like us have been trying to tell people like Anna for so long. We don't want to, we're not out here like, ha, fucking stupid homeless, you deserve it. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, like, there's shitty people everywhere, but that's not the way that people typically look at the homeless population. But moralizing the fact that, well, because I want to do something good, even if it doesn't work, doing good is more moral than not doing something better. What? How does that even make sense? How does that even make sense? After recon? You mean? Oh, reckon? Oh, it's okay. I have to reckon with this interview still. This is a hard one for me, and I watch everything. Why? I mean, I don't feel like either of them are saying anything that's that out of character. I feel like this is what you would expect from Anna. If you had imagined, okay, if Anna and Glenn Beck are going to sit down, I feel like this is relatively close to what you'd expect. Box, this is a great community. You're goddamn right. Shout out to the disciples. Dilly to you guys. And with the fresh profile pic said, funny how the Pentagon fails every audit, yet the same government is in charge of auditing others. Well, because they have special. No, don't make dollars, don't make sense.
Policies are being implemented in places like California isn't really meant to help the homeless. It's about funneling taxpayer money to nonprofits.
Yes.
That's what it's about. And so when we talk about waste, yeah, I'm open-minded about taking a look at these government agencies and really questioning whether these massive bureaucracies make sense, right? Whether the money is well spent on various programs,
It's not black salami. I mean, come on now.
Let's do a little bit of testing to see if these policies or these programs are even effective in carrying out what their objective is.
See, this is why I think the 10th Amendment is so important. It creates 50 laboratories. You want universal health care in Massachusetts? Have it. Do it. Vote for it. You want it in California? Have it. Do it. If it works, we'll do it. If it doesn't work, you can't just say, oh, we need bailout from the federal government. Why should I pay for something that doesn't work? You know what I mean? And if there's 50 laboratories, somebody's going to come up with something better. You know what I mean? But we have all of this federal regulation to stop people from trying things that might work, Yeah.
So are you consistent?
So am I. I'm glad he's back where he belongs. I mean, again, I'd never even heard of Tim Walz before he was named, the VP pick. So I don't know how he is as a governor, and I certainly would not ever want him as the vice president based on what I saw. But same thing with DeSantis. And to your point, I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people in Florida feel the same way about DeSantis. We got a new Amb. Oh my God, who is this? So guys, I'm changing my photo to look liberal since I say things I can get in trouble for. Let's see if I keep getting timeouts if I look like a feminist. You getting timeouts? What? How? What is that? Timeouts. We're talking about what?
From trying things that might work. So
are you consistent on that issue, though, on the idea of states' rights and allowing for the federal government to just kind of take a step back?
It seems like a setup.
Me? Is this to me? Bro, I'm fucking covered. I got my chest piece. I got my legs all done up. What you? Oh, her. Gotcha. Black Salami said the left loves cutting children's body ups and aborting babies. Well, yeah, we know all that.
Up question.
No,
but
I'm
yes.
not. It's not a gotcha
Okay.
or anything, but mostly because in conversations with Republicans or with
wait. On videos as opposed to streams? Really? That's wild. You gotta self-censor if you want to stay in the conversation. We haven't won the battle yet. I think I have 33. It's over 30, but I don't remember. And I just forget about, where is it? I just forget about that one. My lotus flower. I haven't looked at that in like 10 years. Does anybody know what this is? This guy right here. If you do, then you're a real one. All right.
Setup question.
No,
but
I'm
yes.
not. It's not a gotcha
Okay.
or anything, but mostly because in conversations with Republicans or with conservatives or anyone on the right,
Yeah.
they tend to have this idea of states' rights when it comes to economic policies or things like healthcare, as you mentioned. But then it comes to some of the more conservative social issues where they do want the federal government to be involved and have a standard. Like, for instance,
Yeah, we're not anarchists, Anna. we're just not liberals. No, actually, I put a video. Was it a video? I put a video of my How I Met Your Mother tattoo in Discord for Unwanted Poe, and he never even said anything, and it made me so sad because it's like my favorite. Glumtech says the Chinese dude about to pick up a bag of rice. What is happening?
conservative social issues where they do want the federal government to be involved and have a standard. Like, for instance, there's a small but loud group of people who are on, Trump's case about not wanting to pursue a federal ban on abortion.
Right.
I'm curious what your thoughts are
Federal
on that.
government has nothing to do with it. The Supreme Court has ruled with it. I don't think you can legislate morality. I think the problem with the abortion case is on the right side. Forget about the baby for a second. Mom. Why is she in it? She is most likely not in it because in this situation because she's like, I want to shout my abortion.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Some of them, but most probably not.
They're in.
That doesn't mean that they're not still using abortion as birth control, but it means that they're not necessarily happy about it.
Trouble.
Yep.
Something has happened. Something has failed. They have no framework around them to help them. We cannot just say to that person, no, because they'll go someplace else.
True.
We have to care about the baby and the mother and help fix what's broken.
I agree, but I think that is an argument that needs to be pointed a little bit more at the left. So I definitely agree that if we were seeing, like Planned Parenthoods and stuff getting bombed all the time, then I would absolutely agree. But I don't feel like that is as common. And yeah, Beck said I'm not a fan of abortions of convenience. 98% of them are. And yeah, I like safe, legal, and rare too, but it does beg the question, if it's safe and legal, why does it need to be rare? Play.
The baby and the mother and help fix what's broken. When somebody is using abortion for birth control, I don't even understand your moral.
I don't. I know that men are the true romantics.
Sense. But I understand 80%, I bet, of people who are having an abortion. There's no law that will fix that. None. We have to find the way by working reasonably with each other. I went to GLAAD.
Oh, honey, sweetie, baby. So when two people love each other, they, will get together, but it needs the two of them. And so when you create a child, either through the sperm or the egg, that is equally your child. Now, obviously, the woman is the one who is going to be carrying that child, but that has absolutely no bearing on your having a dog in the race. If you created a child, you have a dog in the race. It's a child. I'm sure you don't feel this way about born children, right? This isn't shaming. I'm just disagreeing with what you're saying. I'm disagreeing with the statement that you have no dog in the race. I'm saying absolutely you have a dog in the race. Would you say the same thing about a 2-year-old? Would you say the same thing about a 9-month-old? Well, I mean, I know it's my son. I know it's my daughter, but like she carried it. She breastfeeds it. So like, well, I mean, if she wants to murder it, whatever. Whatevs. Of course not. Of course you wouldn't say that.
Find the way by working reasonably with each other. I went to GLAAD and met with GLAAD this years ago when Iran was throwing gays off of the rooftop. I've always been for gay marriage. I'm more libertarian. I don't care. Marry who you want. Don't tell me and my church what I have to do, and I'm not going to tell you what you have to do.
I feel like that is the most Christian way to approach it, but I'm an atheist, so I don't have a dog in this fight.
And I went to GLAAD and I said, look, we could argue all day long about wedding cakes.
Mm-hmm.
They're throwing people off the roofs because they're gay. This will be wildly unpopular with my audience, and it will be wildly unpopular with your audience. But why don't we come together and say, we disagree on a whole bunch of stuff, but this we agree on. Life has meaning. Okay? They wouldn't do it.
Interesting. Okay.
And until we have the guts to stand up and say, look, this is going to be unpopular on my side. It's going to be unpopular on your side. But we're both reasonable. Laws, when it's oppressive, when they're just forced on you, it feels oppressive. We have to change the hearts and minds. And the only way we're going to do that is by talking to each other
100%.
and actually looking at the problem, not just saying, oh, it's the homeless. That means, my father used to say.
And I mean, he said talking to each other, but listening to each other as well. Listening to each other, not just waiting to see which talking point they're going to throw out so that you can rebut it. I mean, there's a time and a place, but the goal should be to listen to understand, not listen to reply or respond.
The problem, not just saying, oh, it's the homeless. That means, my father used to say, I'd say, Dad, I want to talk about God. Okay, we cannot talk about God. What do you mean? Let's call him first cause, because God means something different to you than it does me. First cause, we don't have any images.
Dilly dilly to Mr. Glenn Beck's father. Do you know how much that would change my defensiveness when it comes to religion that I've explained to you a billion times, which is why I ignored you asking before, Carl, because you know exactly why. It's just winning hearts and minds by the words and phrases you use. If it's no skin off your back and it means the world to me, then why not just give me the win? There's plenty of things where I don't give a shit, and you definitely do, where I will give it to you.
God. I'd say, Dad, I want to talk about God. Okay, we cannot talk about God. What do you mean? Let's call him first cause, because God means something different to you than it does me. First cause, we don't have any images in our head. So we start from there. When we say, we want to talk about abortion, it means something to you, means something to me that's deeply seated in us.
True.
We have to find our way to the compassionate core of the human experience.
How do we get there? Like, what is your suggestion?
I have for so long waited for a fair interview on my side from somebody who doesn't agree with me. I can get fair interviews. I can get bad interviews from people who agree with me.
Guys, we're coming up on 3 minutes left. If you would like to hit the swole goal, that's 2 streams in a row. If we don't make it 2 streams in a row, the push-ups go down each time we miss the goal.
And I don't mind somebody reporting something and me going, well, I don't think that's exactly true, but I can see how you got there. There's no such thing as it's all a setup. All of it is a setup.
Yep.
And
just looking for good faith discussions. Good faith discussions. Shout out to Boggs. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. Shout out to K-Roach who got that membership. Thank you. Thank you very, very much, sir.
there's no such thing as it's all a setup. All of it is a setup.
Yep.
And you know it because you're on the other side.
We got Guam Tech coming in hot. We got that's what, I don't know if we're gonna make it, but we can try. Either way, let's keep this party raging. Thank you so much. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game and the Overlord. Thank you. And again. Oh my goodness. Thank you, sir. Oh, look how happy he is. Thank you. Let's keep the party raging. Oh. We got Funky Funk coming in hot. Thank you. I'll give you guys an extra 5 minutes if you want to go hard. 5 minutes if you want to go hard. Thank you. Where are we at? We are at 10. We need 5 more. 5 more, and I'm on the floor. That's $10, guys. That's $10.
A setup. All of it is a setup.
Yep.
And you know it because you're on the other side, and I'm sure people on both sides right now with you. That's why before we started, the only thing I said to you was, "You're in a safe zone. I'm not trying to get you."
Mm-hmm.
You're in a safe space.
That has to happen, and the only way that happens is back to Jefferson. Honest questioning. I really want to know how you got there.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk to each other, and I've got an agenda. Oh, you know what? I've got some people coming over for Christmas. I know exactly. I'm going to say this, and they're going to say that, and then I can get them to that. That's not honest.
Mm-hmm.
When you say I'm not going to talk to you because I disagree, what I'm actually saying is I'm smarter than you, and you have nothing to teach me.
Yup. Narcissism, solipsism, all packed into one.
Yeah, and ironically, that's actually the dumbest way to proceed, because one thing that I have.
Hey, shout out to Boggs with the gifted membership. Thank you, sir. There we go. Very much appreciated. Shout out to Bounce the Cat. You were gifted a membership. Make sure you join the Discord. You now have full access. Thank you. All right, so let's start the clock. You got it's 10:07 here. At 10:12, anything is just going straight to prolonging the party, and that's
ironically, that's actually the dumbest way to proceed, because one thing that I have noticed is, as the left kind of avoids any debate or conversation with individuals they disagree with, well, their ideas don't really get challenged, right? Your ideas get challenged in a debate, in a good faith debate. I'm not talking about,
right.
gross, rolling around in the mud type stuff. But,
what about her rolling in the mud? I would watch that. What are we talking about?
I'm not talking about,
right.
gross, rolling around in the mud type stuff. But, I like when my ideas are challenged, because it forces me to consider the flaws or a blind spot that I might have.
Yes.
I say I love being wrong, because that's just an opportunity to be more right. Context said, I'd love to donate more, but I'm tapped out. Well, thank you so very, very much. The 3 of you have been holding up the whole goddamn show. Dilly. Very, very, very much appreciated either way.
forces me to consider the flaws or a blind spot that I might have.
Yes.
You know, and that's so I want to make good arguments.
I think I think the left is so weak right now, so easy to take apart.
Yes,
because
you're right about that.
Because they don't stand for anything. Their only defense is ad hominems to you. You're bad. You're racist. You're sexist. You're transphobic. You're misogynist. Whatever it is. There are no other arguments. There are no other arguments.
Thrown up against the wall for the last 20 years saying, you're a racist, you're a bigot. You can only have that said to you if you're a good, decent person. So long before you go, what am I doing that makes me appear that way? What is it?
And then when you talk to other people and you're like, yeah, no, I thought fucking that you know, I was going crazy too. But see, obviously, both of us are intelligent. Let's talk to we get a group like this together and we see, oh, the wokeness really isn't it. But it really, it would be almost insane not to question it. It would be almost insane not to question it. I did see that. That is tucked away for a special day. Maybe Friday, but we will see. We will see. Who, me? Yeah, okay. What's your definition of woke right? That's what we're trying to figure out. So if you got a good definition of woke right and it fits, then I'll wear it.
So long before you go, what am I doing that makes me appear that way? What is it? And you self-examine and you either fix or you become stronger. No one's thrown the left up against the wall. I don't think people have any idea how to defend what they think they're for.
I mean, it's interesting because I've been forced to realize this when I've been making arguments to my audience, to the left, in regard to, hey, you know what? We've implemented this criminal justice reform policy, and it's actually not working out the way we expected. We need to tweak it here, recalibrate it there, and maybe, you know, this policy could actually work out really well. Let's fix these little gaps that we see. And rather than consider that I'm coming at them in good faith because I want these policies to work.
Nah, you're a grifter.
All they do is just call you a grifter. Okay,
So-
that's it.
so
And
let
that's
me-
the thing. You can call me whatever you want. Call me a grifter if
I
you
don't
want.
care, yeah.
But please try to contend with what I'm saying. Like, debate me on this. I want to have an actual exchange. If you just think that you're going to call me a grifter and move along and that's good enough, that's not good enough. Okay, that makes you look weak.
There are so many times, I've said this for years. Please tell me, not that I'm wrong. Tell me how I'm wrong. I want to be wrong.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
want to be wrong on some of these things. But we don't do that. So let me turn that question back to you. Nobody trusts.
That's not necessarily what the definition, but I'm having a hard time arguing with that.
It's anything.
Right.
I mean, I'm a conservative.
She's a married Christian mother.
The FBI is a danger to our society. The Department of
Has been.
Justice, yes, it is. And I used to be, I trust those guys. I don't trust any of it anymore. And it's American and responsible to not trust blindly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's American to not trust blindly. Unless it's about injecting an experimental fluid into your body.
But when you don't have anything and you're not even sure the people you're talking about are grounded in the Constitution, actually do not want a theocracy, do not want a fascist state, do not want a communist state. They do care and are willing to say, man, this kills me to say it, but you have the right to believe that. If you don't have that trust, how do we gain that trust back?
If you don't have that desire to at least be able to do that, then I'm not sure that we're on the same side of this.
Honestly, we can talk about things like transparency, more accountability in the media, stuff like that. But I think a lot of what we're seeing in the country right now stems from economic frustration. And you have to think about it this way. When Americans feel like they have no stake in the game, that's where the nihilism comes from. When you
apply that to the abortion argument, saying, I'm not picking on you, but you did say it. If you say, I don't have a dog in the fight, That's where the nihilism comes in. I don't have a stake in this game. It doesn't matter that a child is going to be murdered. I have no stake in it. So therefore, I don't care enough to have an opinion.
When Americans feel like they have no stake in the game, that's where the nihilism comes from. When you feel like you have nothing to lose, that's what's going to give you the type of mentality that's going to allow you to literally shoot and kill a United Healthcare CEO in cold blood, in broad daylight. Okay. We have some real problems in this country right now.
Right. But that's.
And I'm not justifying that that happened at all.
Yeah.
But you have to think about what led someone like that guy to think it was okay to carry that out in the morning. Okay. Like,
right. But it doesn't.
In New York City.
I just want to be really, really careful because I know what you're saying and I agree with you, but I want to be very clear on what you're saying. Nothing justifies.
No, I am not justifying it at all. That was murder.
Right.
And even if I have deep criticisms of our healthcare system.
Me too.
Okay. Deep criticism.
Don't we all?
Me too.
However, the idea that carrying out vigilante justice is the solution is laughable to me. What happened yesterday did nothing to reform our healthcare system, didn't even inch us closer to it. And at the end of the day, it just led to the murder of one individual who happened to be the CEO of one of the healthcare companies. That's not going to fix or solve.
They probably have a new one by now, right? Like, they probably have a new one.
Of anything at all. So, but what I'm trying to get at is there's a reason why there has been this increase in political violence in the country, which I'm also not justifying. But I'm also not surprised by it because people feel like they have nothing to lose, or more importantly, nothing to look forward to, nothing to build upon.
So can I ask you a difficult question?
Yeah, of course.
I believe in the American way, not the system we have.
Right.
I believe in the founding ideas, and I believe we can be that. And I believe tomorrow can be brighter. And I believe my children can surpass me. It's going to be hard.
Very hard.
And in this, if we keep going this way, no. But I do have optimism. And I do believe the individual chooses to chart their course. Some people need help, assistance, whatever. We're not born on a level playing field. We're all born equal. We all have an equal chance, but some of us need some help and et cetera, et cetera. What I hear.
I want to ask you guys, kind of a broad question, but I hope this will be able, I hope this is going to come out the way that I want it. So, again, I'm speaking broadly. Generally, let's call them safety net programs, something we should have. Either yes, as we have them, yes, but have them work a different way, or no, we should not. All right, let's see what you guys have to say. Ant said she's correct, but when people are willing to do things like that, there are a group of people who should be paying attention. True. Carl said if there's a woke right, then if there's a woke right, it's the Unitarian Universalist types in Christianity, but they're really leftists, pro-choice Dem voters obsessed with social justice and discrimination. No, that would just be the woke left. And said woke right wasn't really mentioned until the Israeli war, until the Israeli war labeling dissenters. Zippy said skill and capability are issues of nature and nurture. Some learn faster, some are born with gifts, some can learn, and some are just dumb. True.
But some of us need some help and et cetera, et cetera. What I hear, from the left is you can't do it because that group of people are in your way.
For people? What do you mean? What do you think? We're talking about
who are black, whatever color, you're a woman, you're gay, they hate you, they'll stop you. that leads you to a place of hopelessness.
I agree that there's a certain level of defeatist mentality on the left that I don't think is necessarily helpful, right? We have to think
like welfare, any kind of school safety net, that like welfare type programs. That's what they're called, safety net, social aid.
A little more strategically about what type of,
for example,
systemic obstacles are standing in our way of helping people become what they want to become in life, right? Get to where they want to get to in life. Look, the Federal Reserve put out data in 2021, fourth quarter of 2021, showing that the top 1% of this country owned almost 31% of the wealth.
I know.
Whereas the bottom 50% owned like 2.3% of the wealth. Like, it was insane, right? Just insane. So I give you those stats because there has been a growing problem in the country of more and more of the wealth floating to the top. And, when we talk about waste at the Pentagon, understand that one of the biggest redistributive policies that we have in this country that takes money from the bottom to the top is the money that goes to the defense contractors.
Yes.
Tiny group of people.
As we said, charity used to be in the trenches and helped people directly. Yep. And it's when you outsource these things to bigger and bigger and bigger institutions. Exactly. Bingo. You got it.
Takes money from the bottom to the top is the money that goes to the defense contractors.
Yes.
Tiny group of people who have a lot of sway over our political system because of money in politics.
Yep.
And so our money gets redistributed from the lower end of the socioeconomic ladder,
Yes.
the tax-paying, hardworking Americans,
Yes.
to this tiny group of executives.
But I would say also, I'm not on the low end of the scale.
Yeah.
Also for me.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Middle class. It's getting harder and harder for people to hold on to middle class status.
Yeah.
And I understand the frustration and anger in the country. I feel it time to time when you see what's going on. And so you think about the federal minimum wage, it's $7.25. I did the calculation earlier today because
let's get one more vote. We got 9 votes. Let's get one more vote on the poll.
I was curious, like, what's the exact amount of money? You're barely making like $13,000 a year with that, right? So
I hate to say this, but I'm such a states' rights guy.
Yeah.
Why should it be $7 in New York City? That's like a dime.
Well, this is the thing.
Black Salami said with tariffs, we won't have to pay out of our own pocket for the assistance programs, so they will be more viable. Possibly, but still, I don't necessarily. I think it's with the rest of you, I believe that the notion of having that safety net for citizens is something where we are far enough along that it is a black eye on me to be living in a country where my government is able to and not helping the worst of people in the worst situations. That doesn't mean just giving free money to people and staying on it for years. But I absolutely believe that we need some sort of program like that. And again, I absolutely shouldn't work the way that it does. But the idea, I agree with. 725. Yeah, that's not much. But remember, minimum wage is not a platform on which poor people stand. It is a barrier which they must overcome. If you are not worth $7.25 an hour, you die with a minimum wage. If there's no minimum wage and your skill is only worth $5 an hour, well, guess who's got a fucking job? And then you get better. And then you're worth $7.25 an hour. And then you're worth $10 an hour. And then you're worth $20 an hour. But if you don't allow people to get in the job market at the skill level they have, then you're just creating a barrier which they must overcome. Scully said, "Me homeless. I made $7.25. I better pick up change." Well, exactly. So exactly the fucking point. Why would you not make more money picking up change if you know you could just go clock in and stand behind a register for 8 hours and make almost that much? Or again, if you're not, this is specifically about people who they don't have the skills to even be worth the minimum wage. Yep. Me too. Did I? Yep. Yep. I was working in a little diner. Carl said, you have to steel man the argument. All military budget purchases international goods at a fraction of the price they would be otherwise. It's a protection racket, but it has its upsides for us. What are we talking about? I don't know what you're referring to. What argument about what? I'm talking about like 6 different things. Yeah. Yep. Even Bucks doesn't like the minimum wage. This is where me and the left depart. Yep. Holy bad idea. Damn. Well, not where you're working. Raising the minimum wage will only fuck everyone else and erase the middle class even more than it already has. The military budget allows poor people to buy cheap international goods. Otherwise, they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. And we're talking about the military budget. Fair enough. So he said minimum wage is a downward force on skill and workplace innovation. No need to improve when it's not worth the effort to even think about it. No minimum wage forces more competition. Bingo. Exactly. But a living wage. Are you fucking worth a living wage? Because that's not an entitlement. You got to work for your shit.
Yeah.
Why should it be $7 in New York City? That's like a dime.
Well, this is the thing. I actually think the model that you see in Scandinavian countries makes a lot more sense. They don't have federal minimum wages. You know what they have? They have unionized workers who get to negotiate working conditions and their pay with collective bargaining, which makes way more sense. So for me, Donald Trump choosing, a pro-labor secretary was a big deal because voting in favor of the PRO Act, which does away with the intentional obstacles that prevent unionized labor from even forming, is important to me. And so I would rather have the workers have a say over what they're getting paid and what their working conditions are.
So let me push back on it because I know history. I actually think unions are important.
Yes.
I think business is important. When one side gets the thumb on the scale, it's bad.
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
And, FDR was very dead set against unionized federal workers. You cannot negotiate against yourself. Okay. And knew that would cause all kinds of problems. He was a big labor guy.
He was, yeah.
Not in the federal government. Okay. I am all for.
That makes sense, but why? Well, okay, maybe he's about to explain it, but and maybe this is just a more old school perspective because as everybody says, unions suck now. But it seems like, I don't know, 40 years ago or so that like unions were what people were fighting for. Yeah, admittedly, I don't know a lot about unions. Never been in a union position, so that's a little bit of a blind spot of mine. But let's see the difference
in the federal government. Okay, I am all for, and especially now. I mean, I'm not a universal basic income guy, but I have been saying for 10 years, we have to talk about this because there's about 10 people that all of the money is going to flow to, and you're going to be a serf and a slave for the rest of your life.
Definitely, yeah.
Because it's all going to change. So I don't know what the answer is, but I do want a gig economy. I want an economy that if I'm a mom and I only want to work these hours, I can check in when I want, limiting people's options.
Kelly Green says, back in the day with the steel industry and factories, people were treated inhumanely. Now they demand their birthdays off. Okay. That's a very good example. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. And said, not a pro-union per se, agreeing with Kelly. Genuinely, Black Song said, genuinely, I wouldn't work for $5 or $7 an hour. It's not enough to even live on without a roommate. Most places, I want to know who's paying such low amounts. Well, right, but that's because you have the skills somehow to work a job that's worth more than that. So if you didn't know how to do anything, then it would be better for you to work a job for $3 an hour than for you to not have a job and get unemployment, which is all of our money. I'm all for child labor. Child labor laws are bullshit. Should they be in fucking coal mines? Of course not. But is there any reason a 14-year-old can't fucking scan shit? Kelly Green said, as an employer, those things don't wash. There has to be a compromise rather than a mafia. Makes sense. Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Said collective bargaining is great. Unions are too big to be helpful to the actual workers anymore. The union is only looking out for the union. So centralization, basically. Is that what we're talking about? And unions were needed when they were formed, but like government, they were made corrupt by lobbyists and investors. Man, with all make sense. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, you know, the reason I want to get rid of child labor laws is not to have children doing dangerous things. The reason I want to get rid of child labor laws is because I have enough trust in the culture of parenting that I don't really think, I think the opposite issue is more prevalent, that kids aren't getting discipline, they aren't getting life skills, they aren't getting all that stuff. So if you're 12, 13, 15, whatever, and you can only work a certain amount of hours in the day, you can only do certain kinds of jobs, but they're not retarded, they're just kids. Of course you need the parents' permission and all that good stuff, but like saying, no, you're not capable of this. And we wonder why the Arrested Development started with the millennials. I mean, come on, man. Bigger hands mean less good stitching. I'd say child labor only for Nikes. Smart. Quantex said, I had a job as a bagger at 14. Hated it. Then I was one of the only 16-year-olds with my own car at my school. There you go. There you go. Matthew said the Teamsters have absorbed so many mid-sized unions all over the country. Now we got Box News. All right. Shout out to Box News. Had a paper route at 12. Shout out. All right. Let's finish this up here, guys.
I can check in when I want. Check in, saying limiting people's options is not good. Balancing and making sure you're not getting ripped off on either side is better.
Absolutely.
So how do you achieve that when labor unions can give so much money to politicians?
We got to get money out of politics. And I mean that. I'm not just talking about corporate interests. I'm also talking about the power that unions have, both on a local level and on a federal level with the campaign donations that they engage in, right? Like,
but how do you do that? You have the teachers union,
right?
Teachers union keeping kids out of school,
right?
Because it was a union. There was no science. We now know this. How do you do that?
You have to pass. I mean, Cenk Uygur, through an organization that he founded called Wolfpack, has been fighting for a constitutional amendment to get money out of politics. And it wouldn't just impact corporations. It would impact any entity that engages in these current legalized bribes. And I think that's the right course of action. Now, it's difficult because you need lawmakers on a local level, like states, to agree to a constitutional convention.
Right click said, I cleaned movie theaters overnight when I was 13. I'm assuming you're saying this was a benefit and not your pay. But free candy! Oh, man. I wish I was there. All right. I feel bad that you thought it. I feel bad. I wish I was still the age where I could just engulf candy and have no negative effects. I have such a sweet tooth, but I've had to almost eliminate sweetness from my entire diet because it just, once I, especially, oh my God, heavy, this is not a promo. This is not a promo. This is no, these aren't the one. Oh yeah. If y'all want, where is it? Bro, these things are so good. They are so good that it's almost, not quite, but almost as difficult to not eat these than it is to get off drugs. Almost. They're so good. Not a paid advertisement. So, yeah, I know. Where we at? The Wolfpack? Let's talk about this. Just say what? I don't care. Sugar's definitely bad for you. There you go. Shout out to free movies. Kelly Green. So I used to drive my lawnmower to the local ball fields and the local ball fields, drag the fields and mow them at 12. Bought a dirt bike for my money as a middle schooler. Kids could be able to work, but you gotta be careful. Or kids should be able to work. Yeah, I mean, kind of. But how careful? Like, as careful as any other job, right? We already have OSHA. What? Yes, sugar is not good for you, very clearly. Context, I got my GED in 1 month and realized that I knew everything I needed to pass by sophomore year. I was so pissed off. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I liked my high school experience for the most part. What an idiot!
Stupid.
2 questions? Are you dumb? Just kidding. I'm sorry to hear that. I am sorry to hear that. All right, let's finish this up and head to the after party.
Lawmakers on a local level, like states, to agree to a constitutional convention, and that's been an incredibly difficult thing to accomplish.
Or amendment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, and there are a ton of Democrats who don't like the idea because they're worried that it's going to be hijacked by Republicans and they're going to get their way. But I think that really this is the only way that we're going to fix our broken system, because otherwise all of these politicians, they're not working on behalf of the American people. They're working on behalf of the individuals who have bribed them. It's that simple. And we've seen how it's been playing out. If we do away with money in politics and we pass laws banning members of Congress from trading individual stocks, which in some cases it's obvious they're doing it with insider information they're getting from their closed door briefings.
No. Nancy Pelosi is just a genius.
Yeah, she just outperforms the S&P 500 consistently.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Fox News. Better than Fox News. Thank you for the gifted membership. Shout out to Not BTL. You are now a disciple. Make sure you join the Discord 24/7. We are in there and we're about to head to the after party. Thank you so very, very much, sir.
Pelosi is just a genius.
Yeah, she just outperforms the S&P 500 consistently.
Yeah, crazy. Well,
is that it?
I am thrilled that you were here.
Thank you.
And I know there's probably a zillion things we disagree on, but you are a gracious and very smart woman. And
Thank you.
I'm proud to have you on the show. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
All right. Interesting. I think this really is setting the table for one aspect of what we can expect when, the machine kind of picks back up. I think we're still in this this weird lame duck type place where like nothing is really happening on a lower level than just like the main stuff. As time goes on, like for example, the thing with Brett Cooper getting fired from Daily Wire, that's something that I'm interested in covering depending on how it plays out. And to talk about the business side of doing stuff like this, anything that we can. And that'll come. So I appreciate you guys sticking with me while the pickings are slim. And like I said, I do have Candace and Nick Cannon in up my sleeve. So that is definitely coming soon. I'm saving that until there is a day where I can't find anything else. Because I saw this, so I want to keep that one in my back pocket because it was a while ago. So it's not like brand new or anything, but it was very interesting. Guante said the fact that I was forced into 2 more years of high school, 3 if they had it their way, instead of working was such a waste to me. Fuck the prison school system. Yerp. Box said you dipped my toe into the Glenn Beck water and I can take it. There you go. And said, don't be sorry. She was an angel. And all the bad things just forced me to work hard and be a boss, a bitch. Joking, but I'm a boss. So, dilly. I mean, she's not dead. So I mean, I just let's hear. Well, before we go, let's check out this thing that I just saw.
This is kind of a crazy story that my friend James Lee broke like a week ago. He got a source from the Daily Wire that gave him like an inside scoop on the fact that the Daily Wire is pushing Brett Cooper out. And I was like, and I know who she is. She's great at her job. She does what she does. Yeah. And so I go and look up her channel and I'm like, wait a minute. She's still producing videos though. What's going on? Yeah. And so I started digging in more. I talked to James and I went and I started digging in and found my own source right at the Daily Wire. And now I've had even more come and corroborate it since I reported on it. And it's not just that the Daily Wire is pushing out Brett Cooper. It's actually that Brett Cooper is under one of these contracts that has her basically tied to secrecy and silence because
nope.
Now they're terminating her contract.
I mean, unless there's a good podcast about it, what would you like me to say about Syria? Syria has collapsed. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Hey, look who's coming in at the last minute. Our boy Guam Tex, friend Indie Film. Welcome to the party. God damn, -10. It's actually decently warm here today. 42, not bad. But yeah, so let's see. I want to hold on. Actually, let's do this. Nope. I need the transcript. And then I need acting. Jesus Christ. Right. We're close. Okay.
Apparently, according to everyone at the Daily Wire that I've spoken to. And it's that she had disagreements with
Hey, shout out to Box News. Double membership. I love it. Thank you, sir. Welcome to the discipleship. Thank you, sir. And we ain't done, yo. I got a little something here for you. Don't worry.
at all, apparently, according to everyone at the Daily Wire that I've spoken to. And it's that she had disagreements with Jeremy Boring over what happened with Candace, probably, and certainly more disagreements in terms of like the culture there and what's going on, and is now getting pushed out. They are promoting her best friend, who was her maid of honor at her wedding. They offered her a contract that was so lucrative she couldn't refuse it.
The best friend that her bestie was already offered.
Producer Reagan,
bridesmaid.
Yeah, her producer was her bridesmaid at her wedding this year, and they apparently allegedly gave her acting classes to help her imitate Brett's mannerisms. And when I was talking to a girl with the family I was staying with before, she's like an 18-year-old chick that loves Brett Cooper. She's a total super fan. She was like, yeah, the Reagan episodes are kind of weird because she's like a clone of Brett Cooper. Oh my! And it's because they paid for acting classes apparently for her. And so there's this whole thing going on behind the scenes, and Brett can't say anything. And so
they are really losing favor with a lot of people between their takes, specifically between their business practices. It's business is ugly.
Like, there's even more about Jeremy Boring that I did a video about that we don't need to go into now. But basically, I made that video, and then Jeremy just circulated a letter around the Daily Wire internally that obviously leaked. I have a copy of. I'm sure lots of have a copy of. Yeah, and I didn't want to like put the whole text up. I'm pretty sure that Jeremy meant for it to leak. Like, he's not totally dumb. Yeah. But in it, he clearly claims in it directly that Brett Cooper wanted to leave, and that this is Brett Cooper's idea, and they wish her well. And that is a flat out lie. That is like directly from sources that are very familiar with the matter. That is not the case. And Brett Cooper cannot say anything, and they're forcing her out while they try to play PR to make it look like, we're just trying to do it, which is exactly the picture that Crowder painted of the Daily Wire, that Candace painted of the Daily Wire, that everyone that has worked at the Daily Wire, like in my Instagram comments, right?
Shady and nasty. I know Am won't get that, but please somebody get that reference. It's shady and nasty.
right now, there's like 4 former Daily Wire employees that are all being like, yeah, it's a fucking shithole. Like, this is exactly the culture that I was talking about. I can corroborate all of this. They're just out there on Instagram saying these things because that's the culture they have there. And we were talking earlier about how like different businesses have different cultures, and it really comes down to who at the top and how are you creating culture. And it sounds like the culture there is just so toxic and so like wage slavey and like manipulative that if they haven't paid you to sign those NDAs, which many do, many actually on the...
Of course, we're going to hit that like button because I would never watch a video without hitting the like button.
Way out, that if they haven't paid you to sign those NDAs, which many do, many actually on the way out, they pay them money to sign an NDA so they can never talk about the Daily Wire or their time there. And I have a few people that have now gotten in touch with me that did not take that money and did not sign those NDAs that have nothing nice to say.
Now you can see it in words. Somebody.
What was their decision to let her, like, because when is she supposed to be letting go?
So my understanding is that she was under like a permanent, like her contract did not have an expiration date. And then once these I don't want to get into like the minutia of why she's going.
Okay, so basically, they're pushing her out, and they paid her best friend, who was maid of honor at her wedding, to be the new Brett Cooper, and gave her acting lessons to act like Brett Cooper. Weird. One more chance. Anybody. Shady. Nasty. Hey, shout out to Box. Is she still Snow White? I guess not. Damn. Yeah, they were doing Daily Wire was doing on Benke, their kids thing. I mean, they've been doing that a while. Maybe that's already done. Maybe she already recorded all of that. I wouldn't know. Does anybody have Daily Wire that has? Well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you have kids, but yeah, I would assume that they already recorded all of that, and because she's still making videos, like this is from.
Hey guys, some of you have heard the rumors online, and the rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true.
I didn't see this.
True that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comment section, you all have made me braver, more articulate, more thoughtful, more hopeful than I could have ever imagined.
Not Eminem.
And I'm grateful that we spent this time together. And I'm grateful that the Daily Wire.
So I was blasting.
Gave us a platform to grow this community. But at this point in my life, I am ready to take.
You're getting closer.
Take on a new direction, both personally and professionally. This means new challenges and new endeavors, which I will share with you soon. As for the show, the comment section will continue with the Daily Wire. My producer, Reagan, is taking over as host of the comment section.
AKA maid of honor at my wedding, that they gave her so much money that she was willing to take my job. If you know this, then you know what the fuck, shady, nasty.
And I wish her and the Daily Wire all the best. We have had 3 great years, and I'm proud of what we've accomplished together. Leaving the show.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she can't do a show like this.
And the platforms that we've built is hard, but I'm very excited for what's to come. Knowing that we have brought so many people together in laughter over these last 3 years means the world to me. I appreciate all of you, so let's chat again soon. But in the meantime, go touch some grass, kick some rocks, and we'll catch up shortly. And now for some final thoughts from the God King himself, Jeremy Boring.
Bittersweet indeed. We're sad to see Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the next step in her journey. Brett's an amazing talent, both as a personality and as an actress. It's been a pleasure to see her bring the comment section to life these last 3 years, and her performance in the Pendragon cycle is sensational. I'm certain that whatever Brett creates next will be filled with the same joy and laughter and heart that she's brought to all of her work at the Daily Wire. And we wish her nothing but the best.
So, my friend.
Okay, so they just do that, and then they do a regular video. Bet. Okay, great. Not a long thing. Perfect. So, if you would like to know what shady, nasty refers to, make sure you are join as a member and you join the after party. A big shout out to the disciples and a big shout out to all of the donations. Thank you guys so very much. I really do appreciate you guys to no end. Thank you so very, very much. And let's give Morty one more. Shout out to the disciples. Thank you so very, very much for hanging out, guys. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lunch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, don't be down on that swoggo. We are out of here. Peace. Oh, shit. Peace.